Welcome, and we're live again. It's Monday, November the 4th, 2019, and welcome to the Stunt Hangar video chat. Got everything set up in the usual way. We have the links posted in the At the Bench thread on Control Line Forum, Stunt Hangar Control Line forums. If you are a member of Stunt Hangar and are logged in, you can go to the same page where the open forum is and all the forums are listed, and scroll down until you see the one titled At the Bench, and that's where you can click the link to come in here with your video camera and your microphone and chat live with us. Otherwise, if you are on the Stunt Hangar YouTube channel, the video is streaming live there, and you can watch that thread and use the chat box and talk to us, and I'll try to incorporate your questions and answers and opinions, whatever you have to say, into our conversation here. Sometimes I can keep up with it. Sometimes y'all move a little bit too fast for me. And it looks like I've got one video visitor already, and that's Tom Remmel. Good evening, Tom. How are you tonight?
Hi, Rusty. I'm good.
Good. What you working on? So you got the glue out.
I'm working on the Skylark. Here, I'll try and get you. I don't know if you can see that, or probably too.
It's kind of overexposed.
Maybe I got too much light.
That's Gorilla Glue, regular. Oh, yeah, now we got it. Now I can see it. That's the regular old Gorilla Glue you're using there, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, cyanacrylate.
Oh, is it the CA? The Gorilla CA?
CA.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, that's different. I've never used it. I've used the old-fashioned original Gorilla Glue when I was first getting back into modeling. And oh, what a man! That's a piece of work there. Um, but anyway, yeah,
working on the fuselage, and I don't know if you can see the plant. It's hard to. My camera's attached to the tablet, so.
Oh yeah, it makes it kind of cumbersome, doesn't it? Oh, good. Hey, I recognize that face, fellow Jitster. I can't not remember your name, but I remember the face. And if you'll go down to the three dots at the bottom right corner of your screen and tap on that, a little pop-up menu will come up, and the top part says profile, and you can type a name in there for whatever name you want us to call you. Let me know if you have any trouble with that, and I'll run you through that one more time. Yes, I know. And tell me, oh hey, Jack Snavely, Jack and Gary Sinclair are in the YouTube side, and let's see if our fellow Jitster is able to get his profile name set up. Can you? Have you got your microphone on? No mic. You can obviously hear me okay. Let's see, what can we do now about getting that microphone working? I'm trying to find out where the controls for that are. If you click those three dots, then manage video quality, start recording. Oh, speaker stats. Try clicking your settings and you can choose what microphone to use and see if that doesn't get you started. Okay, anyway, hi Gary and hi Jack. Hopefully we can get you in with your audio if you can find your microphone settings. That's the only place I can tell you where to look. So what are you frozen into your shop up there, Tom? You're up in cold country, I know. It's not
It's
any fun
pretty,
here either.
it's pretty cold. It was about 32 this morning when I left for work.
That's
So
not too far from what it was here. Had ice all over the windshield again, and I think last Friday was the first time I'd been out that early. Of course, now with daylight savings time, we got an extra hour to warm things up before we get out. So I guess that's nice. My circadian rhythm's still trying to reset, but it's easier to do in the fall when we get an extra hour in the day than we in the mornings anyway. It's not so bad waking up when it's pitch black dark outside.
yeah, pretty soon it'll be dark when I leave for work and dark when I come home from work. So, but right now it was a little bit lighter this morning when I left. So
Yeah.
that was kind of nice.
Well, we got a friend in here that doesn't have any audio. I don't know what to tell him to do other than the three dots at the bottom right. Now, tell me, are you on a computer or are you on a telephone or tablet? Give me a thumbs up if you're on a computer, because that's the easiest. Okay, you're on a computer. Do you see the three dots down at the bottom right corner of your screen where you can click on that and you got a menu? And see if, let me click on mine. Oh, click on that and your menu will pop up and it says settings. And you should see some settings for allowing your microphone, and your camera's obviously working fine because you look like you've got a good broadband connection with the camera. If you can't find anything that way, then close your browser and re-enter and through Stunt Hangar link and see if that doesn't open your microphone. Because usually when you first enter, it'll ask you to allow the microphone and camera. Mine does it automatically now. But try redoing all that if you don't see a setting that works for your microphone, because we'd like to be able to talk to you. That must have been one of the telephone links.
Should have audio now.
Now we hear
Oh,
you.
yeah. Okay. Good. And also in that same menu, you've got a place to put your name, so we'll know what to call you. If my memory was good, I could remember what to call you, but it's been a long time since you've been in here. If I recall, you came in here about a year or two ago with us, didn't you? This is not your first visit, is it? Oh, it is. Okay. Well, tell us what to call you anyway. And
My name's John Miller.
John Miller. Okay, welcome, John.
Thank
Appreciate you
you.
coming and hang out with us. Are you a frequent watcher? Do you watch us often?
No, a friend of mine called and said I should check in here, and I'm having a rough time. I know another guy with a name similar to his, and so I've got him mixed up now. It's hell to get old. But the guy that called me is from San Diego.
Uh, let me write it down just so I. John Miller. Gotcha. Okay. If you if you get a chance, try clicking those little three dots down at the bottom and see. I think it pops up and says options and up at the. Oh, I see. Yeah, the very top is where you can type your name in. You can type in John or something like that, and then everybody will know what to call you while we're on the air. But anyway, yeah, we sit around and talk about aeromodeling, or it's kind of like hanging out at the field in our lawn chairs, talking about how good we fly, except for we do it from the comfort of our own living rooms. And whether it's stunt or combat or carrier or whatever, we talk about it all here.
Yeah,
Occasionally get in
it's easy to
cars.
be a great stunt pilot when you're sitting around with a bunch of the guys.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. I fly patterns in my head sometimes to put myself to sleep at night, and I fly a lot better in my head than I do out at the field.
Yeah,
There's no wind in there.
yeah, me too. Fantastic patterns.
Yeah. What's your
So, John, do you live in California then?
No, I live in Delta, Utah.
Utah.
Delta's on the
Okay.
edge of the Great Desert.
what's your favorite part of control line? Do you fly any competitive, or are you just a sport flyer? Stunt,
Well,
combat, anything?
well, I used to fly a lot competitive in aerobatics, but I got injured about 7 or 8 years ago. I got electrocuted in an accident, and I've had a rough time getting things started going again. I still enjoy it.
Oh, damn.
I used to design a lot of aircraft for various people or do CAD drawings for them. So I did a lot of CAD drawings for Brodak and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, glad somebody pointed you our way. We need some new blood in here. And just a couple of us right now. Hopefully, the crowd will pick up as the evening goes on. Now that people aren't all busy with contests and out at the field flying, now that the weather's getting cold, where we usually have bigger crowds in the wintertime, and hopefully some pretty good shows.
Yeah, I could imagine you'd have more people here in the wintertime, unless they're down in their cold freezing shops.
Yeah, yeah. My shop's cold and freezing. It's about it's about 100 or 150 feet from the house. Else I'd broadcast from out there, but it's too far from the Wi-Fi. So when I host a show, I have to do it from my den. But I'd love to be able to do it from my shop.
Yeah, yeah. I moved down here to Delta from Salt Lake City, and I've only got a half basement, and I'm trying to get that set up, but I still got stuff out in the garage in boxes that I've got to unpack. You know how it is. You get some things, life goes on and all that. Currently, I've got
Yeah.
something going on with my wife being sick that I'm paying more attention to her right now than anything else.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's the kind of thing unfortunately, takes priority over our fun time. But I hope she gets better. I've been
Well,
down myself for a while, and
you
I'm
have.
gradually making it back. Yeah,
I'm
broke.
glad to hear that.
Yeah, broke hips. One year and one the next year, and so kind of a bang bang. But
Eh,
I'm making it back now. Hope to get back in the circle pretty soon.
Yeah. Well, where are you two located at?
I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, right near Fort Jackson. When I say
Okay.
that, a lot of people tell me they've been to Fort Jackson because they did their basic training in the Army there. But
Yeah.
I
My
live
wife.
in Minnesota for me.
Oh, you are in cold country.
yeah,
Yes.
I used to
yeah, we
live in
got several
Wisconsin.
Minnesotans. Let's see. We got, Gerald Wimmer. Speaking of long distance friends, Gerald just checked in on the YouTube chat box. He's in New Zealand. Hey, Gerald. Gerald says hello, Rusty, Tom, and John, as well as all those stunt hanger people out there. Thanks for dropping in, Gerald. I hope you can maybe come in live with us tonight. And Gerald is lucky as summertime is approaching where he lives, as we're headed for the deep dark depths of winter. His flowers are blooming, and the fruit trees are fruiting, and it's getting to be nice and warm there.
Yeah. Hello, Gerald. Can't hear him, but I'm sure he saw me wave.
He can hear us. Yeah, if he can get away, he'll come in here with us. But he's probably, I like a lot of days, got a honeydew list that's keeping him away from sitting in front of his computer. If his wife doesn't, if his wife doesn't catch him messing with the computer, he can come in here.
Yeah.
She's actually a control line pilot too. It's Gerald and two boys, Max and Otto, and his wife Elena, and they're all control line pilots, and they all compete. I think the boys prefer scale, and Gerald flies stunt, and Alina, I think she flies stunt too. So
I'm familiar with his name. I don't think I've ever met him, but I'm familiar with his name and that through Stunt Hangar and Stunt News.
yeah, there's a pretty good contingent of flyers down there in New Zealand and Australia too, but we don't get too many Australians in here. I'm not sure what the time difference is, but once in a while we'll get an Australian. And then if we go on late at night into the 2 o'clock in the morning range, the Europeans, the Western Europeans start crawling out of bed for their morning coffee, and sometimes they'll check in with us from England or somewhere like that, England, France. But most of our business comes from North America, Central America, South America, and then New Zealand. Nobody from Hawaii so far.
I don't know if there's a
Rusty,
large contingent of people in Hawaii flying. So
I'm sorry, say that again.
See, I don't know if there's a large contingent of people in Hawaii. My buddy Gordon Delaney went on a cruise over there and wound up meeting 3 or 4 pilots there. They flew at the bowl there, but he didn't come back with the feeling there was a lot of guys flying.
Yeah. I don't know. I know there are a few because on my other forum I hang out at, coxengineforums.com, there's a couple of Hawaiians that used to be members. In fact, I hadn't seen them check in lately, but so there's a few. They fly in the wind because it's always windy in Hawaii.
Yes, it is.
Rusty, I know you've flown a lot of half A. Have you ever had WinMac 049s?
I've got some in my drawer that I've never cranked. They were given to me, and I never have messed with them though. I never did buy any of their plastic models with the product engines in them, but that's where these engines must have come from. And some of them are, I think they're all front rotary valves. I don't think any of them are reed valve engines. And I couldn't be, now, forgive me, I could be mixing them up with testers engines. I'm not sure I know the difference between a testers and a WinMac without picking it up and reading what is stamped on the side of it. But they're not the same company at all, are they? That's two different entities, isn't it? WinMac and testers.
I don't know that much about them. I was hoping maybe some guys on the forum or on here would know a little
Well,
more about those.
I suppose the Mac in WinMac might stand for McCoy, and testers McCoy was known by those two names. So they might all be from the same production line, or different different plants at one time or another. I don't know.
I do have a plastic model. This is a WinMac
Oh, that's
P63, King Cobra P63.
that
Are you
aluminum
able to
plated
see
one.
that? I don't know if you can see that.
I can see the tail. I can see the tail of it. Now that's got aluminum plating on it, doesn't it? Or an
Yeah.
aluminum coating.
Yeah, it's aluminum coated plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen some where the aluminum is peeled off and there's yellow underneath it. The plastic is yellow underneath. And
Yeah, there are some places like that on here. The fuel takes it off.
that's a pretty cool looking little plane, though. Have you flown that plane?
I don't remember flying this one. I think this is a 1961 plane, and I've had it for a long time, but I don't remember flying this at all.
Is that a reed valve engine?
No, it's a rotary valve.
Is it? I can see the intake
It's a
now.
WinMac rotary. I don't know if
Now I can see the intake. Yeah, that's what the ones I've got in my drawer look like. That
this has one of those spring starters on it.
Oh yeah. It looks like it's pretty ruggedly built. The landing gear and all look pretty heavy duty.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think this one's in pretty good shape for a 1961 model, plastic model.
yeah, that'd probably sell for a pretty penny on YouTube if you were so inclined.
I looked on
Yeah.
YouTube and there's one that's not in as good a shape as this for $750.
Ooh, man, yeah, that's what
I should
I'm
have
talking
kept some
about.
of them things.
I think I still have the box that it came in and all the paperwork and the tools and everything too.
Yeah, back in the day, I didn't have any idea when I was a kid that to save the boxes and the papers and all that stuff. It never occurred to me they'd be worth anything. I just took them out and flew them until there was nothing left to glue back together, or nothing left for my dad to glue back together.
When I was 11, I learned to fly on a WinMac, but I've never seen another one like this. It was a flying wing made out of sheet aluminum.
Oh,
It
really?
had, yeah, and it was rugged as all get out. Me and my buddy, I was 11 and he was 13 at the time. We flew in the cul-de-sac and we crashed that into the curb so many times or into the asphalt, but it just kept getting up. We have to replace props, but we both learned to fly that day on it. At least we could keep it
Uh,
level, keep it from crashing.
yeah, that sounds like a pretty tough bird.
It
So
was
it wasn't
tough.
aluminum plated; it was solid aluminum, I
Yeah,
guess. Huh?
yeah. The sheet came from here, rolled around, and then back, and was riveted at the trailing edge, and it had the elevator back in the back there. But it was I've never seen another one. I'd gladly buy one in most any condition. If I could ever see another one, it just brings back some memories.
You don't remember what it was called?
It was a WinMac. That's all I know.
Yeah.
They had a
Oh,
name for it.
here comes Gerald. Hey, Gerald, how's everything?
Hi, Rusty. Hello, Tom, and hello, John. Nice to meet you.
Gerald.
I could
Things are going well here. It's getting warm here now. We're into the 90s Fahrenheit. And I was working outside and decided I want to come inside. It's so hot when the boys got home. I thought, well, I'll come on live for a bit anyway. It's baking out there. I was working on some cars and not getting much luck with what I was doing. But it was nice looking at Tom's little WinMac. It's the Air Cobra, I think.
Air
Yes.
Cobra, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one stashed away somewhere. I bought it from a guy that imported it from eBay, and he paid a bit for it. And I just thought they're such a cool subject. I've got to have this little WinMac as well. So again, I haven't flown my one either. It's been sitting there, meaning to bring it out and fly it. Yeah, I think WinMac and testers and we're all interconnected ultimately.
Yeah, that's what we were trying to decide too, is if WinMac and testers were basically the same production line, or one time or another they changed hands and the Mac part stayed for McCoy, I presume. There was WinMac and then there was McCoy.
I do know that.
Go ahead.
I do know that in 1959, AMF bought WinMac in 1959, and AMF was the company that also made all the automatic pin setters for bowling alleys.
Yeah. I know, and AMF's in you see that in every bowling alley you go to.
And AMF also owned Harley Davidson for a while.
They ran it in the ground.
Yeah, in the 70s, they had a bit of a bad reputation there for what they did, but I suppose they're trying to make money. It doesn't always conflict with making a good product. But I think under testers, it didn't necessarily do a whole lot better, and it sort of got broken up. I think it was Tyco came into it at some point, and I've got a little model that's branded as a Tyco and it's really a WinMac underneath it as well. So there are all these different names floating about.
Wasn't KB Allen a mixture between K&B and Allen, and they were making a lot of those small engines? They actually had a little outboard engine for the boat people.
I used to have one of those outboards. I wish I still had it. I think my brother ended up with it. I don't know what happened to it. Little 049 outboard.
There's some brilliant little pieces of engineering there. But I suppose when the little electric outboards came along, they sort of vanished. But I suppose that happened to a lot of things. Technology
they had water pump cooling systems to cool the heads and everything on some of those boats. They were pretty interesting little designs.
Yeah, I suppose for a model boat, the electric's very practical. But I know the OS still make a lot of boat motors now, and I think they do a 3.5 cc outboard that makes something like 3 horsepower. It's massively powerful.
Whoa, that's a lot of horsepower.
Yeah, it's a tremendously powerful engine, and they see compared to the old K&B 3.5s that were really the bee's knees in their day. That's much further ahead now in terms of the development where it's gone. But it's the same with the RC car motors. Back in the day, we used to use the K&B 3.5s on our combat models, and they went well. They'd make about 1 horsepower. But nowadays, they're faded into the distance as these more modern, specifically designed RC car motors with the huge cooling fins that do 30,000 plus RPM. They've taken over their reign as champions. But it's just technology, isn't it? 40 years of development.
Is a 3.5 a 21 or is that a 40?
No, the 3.5 is a 21. Yeah, 21 was the traditional car size, the RC cars, and it was a common boat size. They made the outboards as a 21 size, and then they also did the bigger. I think it was a 40 sized outboard as well, or 45 sized outboard. But yeah, they K&B made a lot of inboard engines as well. They were really big producers of engines for the RC boat world.
Yeah, I do have a K&B 40 outboard that's on a deep V boat. It's about, I don't know, 45 inches long, deep V boat. And I also have a hydroplane with a K&B 60 outboard.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, I bet it'll haul ass across a glassy pond.
I think it does. If it's got to be pretty glassy to run it because it's, it has to be smooth.
Yeah.
But I think it'll probably do between 50 and 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's moving quick on the water.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it's the right space to use a boat like that, and that's something we lack around here. I haven't really got any suitable places I could run a boat like that. I've always been keen to try something like that, but if I did an RC boat, it would probably be with a little diesel in it, pottering around like a little tugboat, a scale model, which I did RC boats in the past, but they were always electric.
My buddy Wayne used to build sailboats, RC sailboats, like racing sloops, and those were pretty cool boats, and they were gorgeous. And now, what I'm talking about was probably had a mast of about 5 feet tall. It was big boats, but they look like fun. I've never been out to the lake with him, but he still goes and sails once in a while, I believe. And Mike just joined us. Hey, Mike, how you doing tonight?
What's up, fellas?
Not much, just kind of chilling out. We got John Miller in here, a new addition to our crowd.
Hi, John.
How you doing?
Somebody's texting me. Let me see what we got going on here.
We had a good show on Saturday. It was a lot of fun. I was actually working on my brother's car, his old 1952 Morris Oxford, but I was trying to watch it, and at the same time, Alina was enjoying listening to your show. She was watching it on my phone while I was working on the car. But she was sort of feeding me in on some of the details. It's been quite good being able to watch Sparky's build on his profile ringmaster and on his tucker. We've got lots of material to enjoy. Have you been busy, Mike? Have you been able to enjoy the last of the good weather, I suppose?
The bottom dropped out here in the last week or so. So since we got back from Huntersville, it's been pretty cold here. We did get out and fly some RC stuff last weekend, but other than that, we've just been in the shop. We had an RC swap meet on Saturday, 2 days ago, and I scored some pretty good goodies there. So I got a few things for show and tell if anybody's interested.
Oh yeah, it's show and tell would be good.
Yeah, bring a kid. Always bring a kid with you when you go to an RC swap meet, man. That's all I can say.
Come home with all kinds of cool stuff.
I know I've said it before on here. We have 2 swap meets a year here in Nashville. This one traditionally last week of October, first weekend of November, and then we have another one in March. And they're by 2 different clubs, like an hour away. So we usually do pretty good there. But if you want me to, I'll go ahead and get her done there. Rusty, what do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I'll click you up. All right, you have the stage.
Sam scored that for $10. That's a 46 size Mustang, and he got it for $10. It's got all the servos in it too. I don't know if any of them work or not, but I'm sure I got a 46 laying around here that I can throw in it. So that's Sam's next low wing, first low wing airplane, I guess you could say. So that was a good deal. And then all this stuff up here, this is a little electric deal that some guy built. I don't even know what it's called. I have no clue.
That's pretty odd looking.
It's pretty small. It's not huge. But then he had this interesting thing, this Sonic, which I kind of remember these. I think these were late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there. It's a 40 size low wing trainer. And this one has all the servos in it too. And the guy was wanting $40 for this airplane, $20 for that airplane. And then he had a Thunder Tiger GP42, which is actually really snappy. It has excellent compression. And I really wasn't wanting to buy any of this stuff, but Sam had his own money, and he kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. He had $30 on the motor. So 40 for that, 30 there, I think 20 or 30 on that. And we waited till the very end of the swap meet because Sam did not believe about this. He wanted all this stuff. He sold it all to us for $25. Both airplanes and the motor for $25.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So the GP is going to go on eBay. I'm getting rid of that because I'm not going to run. I've got a 40 I can put in here. This I don't know.
Sorry, those GP42s are a good stunt motor. They're like an FP, but slightly bigger. And you can rotate the jury so that they work well as a stunt engine.
Are they?
They're timed
just like GP40.
They're timed like Glenn Dye did one of those, converted one to control line for me, and he said it was timed like the 32
really?
that was available. Yeah, and they make a good stunt engine.
Well, I may have to reconsider. Maybe I'll get Jim Lee to make me a Venturi for it and put a needle in it. Looks like. Ooh, that is weird how that carburetor bolts on there, though.
The early one's got a cinch bolt. The later one's a bolt on, the 2 diagonal bolts.
There's a front bolt there, and then diagonally.
Yep.
Across, there's another. Yeah, that's wacky.
That's crazy.
That's more work than I want to do. Well, that'll go on eBay. That'll go on eBay for
Yeah.
sure. And I don't know what we're gonna do with this. It's all set up for electric with micro servos and whatnot. I don't even know what size motor to put in it. I'll probably just let Sam put a D battery in the front of it, tie some lines on it, and swing it around the yard like we do with all the other junk that we got. That comes like that. He did get I don't know if you can see that there. There's a set of glider wings for, I think they're an Olympic 99, if I'm not mistaken, because I had an Olympic back in the 80s. And I think those are wings to an Olympic 99. But he's already glued them together and got them all taped up. I'm going to cut him a 2x2, about 6 feet long, and we'll put some weight on the front and slap a tail on it, and he'll be throwing that around the front yard and the hill as a free flight plane. But the most interesting thing was, so I got this brand new FP20, $20, man, brand new in the box. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's
You're
RC
on.
version. You can't say no to that. You can't say no $20 to a brand new motor. Can't turn it down.
Nice,
So the
brilliant stunt motor.
guy had a couple of crates underneath his table that said make offer on it. So I start digging through there, and he says, hey, since you bought the motor, you can just have anything you want out of these boxes. Well, what do I pull out of there? TDO
51. Yeah.
I haven't touched it. I haven't cleaned it up. I haven't even tried to turn it over. So I don't know what condition that's in. Pull out an OS Max 25, complete, carburetor, muffler, everything. And again, it's froze up, so I don't know what it is. Another OS Max 25 with everything, muffler, carburetor, everything. And I believe there's another one. There was a third one in there, missing some stuff, but they'll be fun to take apart and see what I can do with them anyway, if they're salvageable. And then the other thing, it was in this little metal container, and I actually missed it. Sam's the one that took the lid off the container, and I have no flipping idea what this thing is.
That doesn't look familiar at all. Unless it's a
HB or
I
HB?
can't. It might.
It's
It
an
is
Austrian
HB.
engine.
That is what it says right there. Is HB 15. Okay, it's HB. I wouldn't have known that until you said it, but now I see it on there, stamped on the side of the case. And check that out, man. 3-bolt back plate to firewall mount it. And there's
That's
the rest
odd.
of it. It is odd. And it's got this crazy huge counterweight on the front of it there. I don't know what the hell that's all about. Look at this little teeny tiny muffler. Just this little teeny muffler for it. But yeah, that one was in there too. And I got high hopes for this, because this is actually in a bag filled with oil and stuff. So somebody put this one away and oiled it up real good before they put it away. And it's got an RC carb on it. You say it's an Austrian motor?
Yep.
Okay. Are they desirable? Are they good? Are they the OS engine
Austrian
of
makes good
Austria?
stuff.
Yeah.
I think they were pretty good in their day.
In their day. All right. Well, so that's what you get when you dive through somebody's junk box after you buy a $20 motor off him. He gave me all that stuff. I threw him like $15 for all this, because I kind of felt bad for snaking all these engines. He's like, no, you can have them. You bought that other engine from me. I'm like, no, it's cool. Here, let me give you a couple bucks anyway. So I love boxes and junk boxes at swap meets, man. That's my favorite thing to dive through. I think we picked up about 30 propellers too while we were there, and not junk that we don't use. The ones we use in our size for combat. We got a bunch of 8.5s, 8.6s, and a bunch of 9.5s, 9.6s, because we break a lot of those flying combat. So of course at the swap meet you get them for 50 cents a piece, you know, instead of $3 or $3.29 at the hobby shop.
I used to love going to RC swap meets. You get all kinds of good engines for nothing.
Yeah, we had a good day. We had a good day. The most expensive thing I bought, well, was those 3 airplanes and that GP42 for $25. And actually, I didn't buy it. Sam bought it with his own money because those are his planes. So he used his birthday money for that. But,
Don't get rid of that. Don't get rid of that GP42 real quick, because there's ways of getting around that crazy mount. Glenn built a Venturi that bowls right in for me, but you don't have to go that way. Use your mind. You'll figure out a way. It's a good engine.
I know. The thing is, I try to keep all my stuff standard. I don't like having wildcat stuff or oddball stuff, and that would be an oddball thing for us. If it was an OS, you know, a 25, we run OS 25s, 40s, and 46s, Thunder Tiger 36s, and then the PAs and the Nelsons. I really try to keep everything. I can't have one of something. The way Sam breaks shit all the time, I can't just have one. You know?
Yeah,
it makes more sense to use something that we have a bunch of. You know.
Yeah, I've got a lot of.
Somebody else.
I tried to do the similar thing. I tried to stick to Enya, OS, or Fox. They're the main ones I run, and common motors, and that way you can hoard the same parts. It makes it easier. And then if you've got other motors you don't want, like my MVVSs, because I normally run POW diesel, I thought I'd get rid of my MVVSs, but not that many people keen on the MVVS because it is an oddball now.
Right, because if you're going to run them, you got to have one sacrificial motor that you're willing to scavenge for parts, and you know, or be able to buy parts for it. You know, hunting down parts for a Thunder Tiger GP42 is probably pretty hard, I would imagine. You know.
Yeah, they went out of production probably 10 years ago. A lot of those ones have been out of production long enough now that the new parts have dried up, and unless you were running a number of them, it gets tricky. I had a GP40, the earlier model one, on a Stunter for many years, and I used to fly that when I flew at the Museum of Transport and Technology every Sunday. We'd put on a display there, and that thing got mega miles on it. It just flew so many hours, and it worked well for me for many years. And it was a great motor, but again, it's similar to an FP40 or an LA40 or 46, and there's so many LAs and FPs out there that they are the go-to motor because you've got the spares for them, and there's all these dead RC ones out there for parts.
Yeah.
It's like we were flying on the weekend, and most people there are flying OS LAs. They're the most common motor everybody seems to use for stunt around here. And that's unless we've gone electric. So it looks like we've got Steve there, but picture quality is really poor.
I can't see you, Gerald. Your picture is not there.
Yeah, I got a message that says Gerald's having connectivity issues, and your thumbnails in black and white.
Yeah,
we can hear you fine. We can hear you fine.
Yeah, I've got connectivity problems. I think Steve Hines or
I'm on.
Oh, you're on. Oh, hi, Steve. I just have to change it to the
Are you on through Chrome or Microsoft?
I went through Chrome, and I normally go through Chrome. I use Firefox for most of my stuff, but Chrome definitely seemed to work better with Jitsi and with our old platform.
Yeah, I know Chrome worked better with the other. I was wondering about this. I still use the same thing. It's Chrome, and then it goes through Bing. I don't know if that makes a difference. I have no idea.
We've got
I don't have much use for Bing.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see Stephen McBride's there as well. And you've got your
yeah, hey, Steve.
Hey, Rusty. Hey, everybody. Hey, Mike, did you get your plane ticket? You coming out?
No, man. The wife shot that
Come
down.
on, man. I got the plane already.
Can't do it. No, the wife shot me down, man. We got too much going on.
Oh, man, I took the plane out. I got it all ready this weekend. I was all so excited for you to come out. And I haven't used it in a while because it's just there's my spare airplane for everyone to use. I got it all set up and ready to go this week. I'm thinking you're going to come out. There's other people are going to come out, and everybody can compete with my airplane. All you got to do is get a plane to come out.
I tried. I asked, man. I thought I should
What'd you
ask
have,
permission
Tom?
rather than forgiveness.
You got to be like a woman. You got to nag and be persistent and nag and be persistent.
She funded us for 9 contests this summer, man.
Oh, then
Wow.
no complaints there.
9.
Yeah, you got to know your limits.
There.
Yeah.
No,
And
can't walk.
three of those were a week long. We spent a week at Joe Knoll, a week at Brodax, and a week at the Nats. You really think in November my wife's going to let me go to Las Vegas for one last hurrah? I wish she would, but she was like, you've had enough airplane stuff this year. You got other stuff that I need to get done. So I'm going to just back off and say, okay, honey.
Oh, we got to take her sightseeing. You can go sightseeing out here. You can show her the Hoover Dam, show her the Grand Canyon.
Next year, maybe, eh?
Yeah, big hole.
Next year, maybe. We'll see.
Hey, I got some messages here from Jamie Holford. He wants me to tell you guys hi. He's sorry he can't be here, but he'll get back with us one day soon.
Oh, it's good to hear from him anyway.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
haven't seen him or Tom Creasy.
And no, I hadn't seen Tom Creasy. I was wondering about him too.
Yeah, I've seen both of them on Facebook. I know they're very active there. Amy in particular.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, anyone here ever heard of an airplane called a papoose?
Called a what?
Vico.
A papoose?
Yeah, Papoose.
Yeah,
A
it's a big,
papoose, yeah.
Yeah, the Papoose. They had the Squall. They had the Chief.
Yeah, Joey Matheson had one, and he's not much of a builder or anything to that nature. My father likes to build. He asked me to do them a favor and build this airplane. So he got it a week ago, and it now sits assembled at this stage. Body fully assembled, wing fully built up, flaps all together. The whole system together.
Yeah.
What took you so long?
Okay.
They did this.
Sorry, guys. I gotta go.
All right, John.
Hey, no excuses. You can go.
Oh, that was my.
Take care, Daryl.
He put this together and covered the wing. It'll be powered. It'll be powered with a Vico 19.
Okay.
All right. I didn't know them came with flaps.
I didn't know anything about this airplane, but yeah, it comes with flaps.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah. Neat little airplane.
I wish I had your time.
He likes to fool around with things like this and fly things like that. My father likes to build a lot, so he enjoyed that project.
Hey, Mike, what color is Sam's favorite colors?
Okay.
Oh man, let me get him out here and we'll talk about it.
Teal.
Teal?
Teal, white,
I like teal.
and maybe a touch of bright red.
I have teal. That was one of Samantha's colors she liked.
I think that bright orange or bright red, orangey red, with teal and white, bam, just nice.
remember back in the early 90s, teal was a popular color on new cars. Had a whole slew of companies putting out teal cars like the Ford Escorts and some of those.
Yeah.
Where can I get a 2-ounce tank for this? So I'm having a hard time finding a 2-ounce tank for this.
So
make one.
2-ounce tanks.
Just make one.
What's that?
What?
What
Make
kind
one.
of tank do you want? Plastic, metal?
Plastic?
Ah,
Plastic or metal? I had a plastic when we tried to work in there. Didn't really work out. But plastic or metal tank of some sort that I can get in there.
Sullivan and Dubrow make a 2-ounce plastic tank.
Yeah, I need to get a 2-ounce tank in that.
I haven't had good luck with plastic tanks, but oh well, you know. If it works, it works. Some people know how to use them.
I see Sam's with us with Mike
Hey.
now.
What colors you like, Sam?
Let's
How
see,
many do you want? 2?
2 or 3, it doesn't matter.
2 or 3?
4. We can trim.
Well, don't go crazy, man.
I'll do 2, and the colors would be
Okay.
how about orange and black?
Actually, let's put Sam on the screen.
Orange and what?
Black.
Ooh, I don't
And
know
black?
about black. Black's not a good color in the sun.
Orange and black, and what other colors?
Well, he just said orange and black. I think he's got Halloween on the brain right now because we just went through.
Actually, that's kind of nice. You know,
Yeah.
I can definitely see a plane with a black, like a narrow black line with a wider orange line, and that will look cool. And some,
That's true.
Anything you can see up against the trees when you fly in front of the dark background.
yeah, if it's mostly white, you know, just an orange, especially if you use the bright orange, bam, it just jumps out. That's cool.
Maybe orange and white with some black trim.
Yeah, that's
think-
good. That's good.
I think that would be easier for the. Yeah, you don't want an all black airplane, man. You put it.
No, I said all white.
Yeah.
All white with a thin black stripes and a bit more powerful orange.
Yeah, I think that's that. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So, is that cool, Steve? Mostly white with
Yeah.
a little bit of black and orange.
Yeah.
Tran approves. Thumbs up.
Yeah, right.
Like, who gives a shit about what I say? Oh, sorry, Sam.
She's never heard that word before.
No, probably not. I'm sure. Never.
Ever. Are you cool with it?
Yeah.
What do you want to tell Steve?
Thank
you want to
you,
tell Steve
Steve.
anything? I mean,
Oh, you're welcome. I just gotta get. I have to see if I have to get anything. I have all them colors. So
Okay.
Hey, Sam, you should also tell Steve, hurry up, damn it. What takes you so long?
We don't.
He doesn't have a mold.
We don't need it
I'll
till
say
next
for you.
year.
I'll tell him for you. See.
well, I got the whole airplane built already for him. How fast you want me to go?
Yeah. Try
done
it.
yet?
You can build a Revolutions for Sam that fast. I'll send you my shipping address, buddy. If you're offering. You want to talk smack about Steve here? You could send Sam an airplane too.
You know what? If
See
I
that,
had
Brian?
the time, I would love to do that for
You
Sam.
not trying? I started it Friday night.
Sure. That thing has
Which
been sitting on
Friday?
the back wall for the past 3 weeks in the sessions, minimum.
No, he started that last Friday trying.
Yeah, and I was bored yesterday too.
Hey, Jeff Riley says Brodak has 2-ounce tanks in Uniflow and standard vent with up and down vents. So yeah, go to Brodak.
Okay.
Has Brodak's catalog changed lately?
I don't know. I don't even know how to get their catalog. They charge you to get their catalog. So I just look it up online and just order the stuff directly through.
Yeah. Hey, you can't find everything online that you can find in the catalog, but I've got one old one, but it's like it never was replaced with a new version. So
Too bad Circus ain't there anymore.
Oh, no doubt. Circus, William Bennett. Circus Hobby.
Yeah. Circus Hobby Shop. That was the greatest hobby shop in the world. All it was a huge warehouse that you could go into.
Yeah, right behind the casino. Circus Hobbies over there.
Yeah.
William Bennett.
Yeah, when I was there in Vegas, we went in there. It's like, holy shit. They had great stuff, especially their boats.
I only remember them at that time was we used to mail order stuff from them, order and have it mailed out, and did orders that way. It existed.
Well, they carried
the history of Bill
Bennett. What did they carry? Was it just Wabra they carried for engines? I can't remember now. I think it was.
They still fly over by his house. Bill Bennett. They still fly on his house property.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, whereas house since they tore his house down, now it's just an open vacant lot. So they still fly out there. The guys fly out there on the weekend. A small group of them. They have another runway there. Still when he did RC, so that's still there, and they fly their RC out there. Then they have the rodeo, and rodeo takes over the property and puts all the bulls in there.
Was Bill Bennett? Was he the guy who owned Circus?
Yes.
I think my puppy's escaped. I got to go find out where he went.
Yeah, that was designed to be a more family-oriented casino, where it was made not where gambling was such a high dollar deal. It was more for family people to go out and gamble on, and also make it fun for the kids as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we end up staying at. Oh shit, I can't think. But right across the street was Circus, and we ate there and watched the shows and gambled and everything else. But yeah,
they had nice shows there. Yeah, they had a lot of good shows there.
Yeah, I mean, you could go in there while you're playing the damn slot machines, watch them do all the circus stuff, you know. Every so many hours, they'd have a big performance.
They had a little problems with that, though.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, a little bit. I think they had the elephants that they actually hoisted and had them run around the top of the roof, the top of the casino, but they shit on the players.
Okay.
They had some issues there.
All I remember,
they did a lot of.
They had a 99-cent breakfast buffet.
Uh-huh.
I think lunch was $1.99, and then supper was $3.99 or $2.99.
Yeah, if you live in Vegas, you don't even need to cook or buy food at all. I mean, just go pick a casino, go over there, and just have a good meal.
Yep.
Not so much. The prices came. It's not like it used to be. I mean, when I was there was 89. That was kind of coming to the end of cheap food and free liquor when you're gambling.
Oh,
that free liquor was pretty thin stuff. I remember.
Oh, it's free liquor. You gamble, it's free liquor all day, night. It's free liquor.
Oh, they're still that way?
Oh, still that way. You gamble, your liquor's free.
Yeah, I played blackjack for like 5 hours. And I almost need a CNI dog to get me out of the place, but
That's why your room's upstairs.
I just staggered out to the semi and got in and went to sleep. But
Now they got some people they got more creative with that because they have the penny slot machines. So people look that don't want to gamble, they'll look for the penny slot machines where they can play 1 penny at a time. And they'll sit there and get hammered and put a buck in. Right? And they'll put a dollar in, they play 1 penny at a time. They're gambling and drink away and get slammed, hammered, and then leave.
Yeah, most of them they start out with a good idea of playing the penny slots. They get hammered, and then they go start playing quarters and dollars and everything else.
All right, so I got a question. I have heard, I've never tested this theory, but I have heard that the piston and liner for the FP25, the LA25, and the Thunder Tiger 25 are all interchangeable, as well as the back plates. Does anyone know this to be true?
I can't swear it's a fact, but I can tell you I have heard the same thing. And I've got all 3 of those engines. Yeah, I think they are.
I'm not 100% sure on the back plate because I know Dick was he had to turn down the back plate a couple thousandths to make it work on one of the Thunder Tigers because well, maybe that was for the LAs and FPs that had the plastic back plates.
Okay.
Thunder Tigers were aluminum. So when they were still in business, Dick would buy like 20 of them at a time, and he had a little fixture, turn them down, and then he was selling them for the price he had in them. I think they were like $5, but they were a couple thousandths difference. But I don't know about the 25s.
Well, that's what I'm talking, 25s, specifically 25s, not 40s or 46s, just 25s. I've heard the back plates, piston and liners are interchangeable between the 3 motors. And the reason I ask is because I picked up this FP25 from Rich Peabody on Stunt Hangar. He wanted $12 for it. He was only asking $12 because he said the piston was clapped out in it, which it is. I just put a prop on it, boy, and there's nothing there. But I got a whole mess of 25 LA piston and liners from RC Japan. You know, they cost $10 a piece. So I thought I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna pull.
I think they are, Mike. If you look at a lot of the stuff, the old FPs were steel piston, and that was even when they made the FP20. Yeah. There was a deal there where some of them were steel and then some of them were aluminum. But yeah, that's probably why it doesn't have any compression. But yeah, the LAs were the aluminum.
Well,
oh, wait a minute.
Off it and see what happens. But I was hoping
you need to check. The one thing is that may be a 3-port motor. They made 3 ports and 2 ports.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fairly obvious when and I pull the new piston out of the package whether it's going to work or not. But
even if that's a 3-port case, if you put a LA cylinder in there and it covers up the one, and it doesn't matter, it ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Okay, all right.
If the other 2 line up with the ports but I bet you they would.
All right, well, we'll find out.
You can hopefully tell us all next week or something. We'll all know because I'm sure it's something a lot of people know.
I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, because I know the wrist pins and the pistons were the same.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know with the 40 size ones, not the 46s, the bigger ones, they don't always interchange as you hope. I tried to put a GP 44 backplate into my LA 46 and it fit, but there was a huge gap. It didn't line up like it should, but it still ran. I just needed another backplate because my plastic one had fallen apart.
Steve, you were talking about big servos last Friday.
Oh yeah, there's a the sliders.
That's a Heath kit, and I opened this one up so I could show you how that actually works. If I can get it apart here. Oops. So they have a rack and pinion gear to make those sliders work.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It just slides inside on that gear.
So you had the regular. You could use the arm or the slider, huh?
Right.
They were popular for a while ago. I remember seeing them in the old ads in the 80s.
But the other thing about these Heathkit servos, they're 4-wire.
Oh no shit. What was the extra wire for?
They had a center tap on the battery. And so you had transistor drivers that would either turn one side on or the other side. The center tap tied to one of the motor leads, and then the other motor lead was either tied to plus 2 volts or minus 2.4 volts or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see here.
Here, I've been away from the computer. I can highlight you now so I can see what you're showing, Tom. I had to chase my puppy down. He was eating the cat food.
Oh yeah.
If he wasn't eating the cat, it's all good.
So
there's the manual.
with that, did you have to wire the motors and stuff like that?
You had to build the circuit board and everything.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Good old times.
Are you still etching your own boards?
No, on Heathkit, the boards were already made. You just had, I mean, they were etched and everything. You just had to solder the components.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That brings back memories of the special kit that used to go over them and making up the acid. Oh, yeah, that's some old memories.
See if I can find the schematic of this. It's the way it works as transistor drivers, and then that center tap battery, and the center tap ties to one side of the motor, and then you'd get a negative voltage or a positive voltage on the other side of the motor.
Oh, to turn it one way or turn it the other?
Right. And the other odd thing, most modern servos use a potentiometer as the feedback. These had capacitors.
Oh shit.
Wow, interesting.
Is that, I missed the first part. Is that a Heathkit transmitter
It's a
servo?
Heathkit servo.
Yeah, my dad built one of those. Do you have the transmitter for it?
I built it, but I sold it about 30 years ago.
Okay, so yeah, the blue transmitter box, the white servos.
Yep, the blue 3-channel.
My dad built 2 of the 4-channel ones on green and white, which was, I don't know, 72 something or other. But dad's I came in in the middle when you were talking there. You had to solder all that together, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
My dad built 2 of those and flew those radios into the 80s. Yeah, that's a 3-channel. My dad built 2 4-channel radios. Same thing. I wish I still had them.
I didn't realize until a lot later that Zenith owned that Heath kit.
It's neat looking old set. They really look well made in that day and era.
Is that
Lots of metal.
27 megahertz?
Well, see, that's if everybody look, people wonder about, get questions about mode 1, mode 2, or whatever. If you look at that picture, it shows your ailerons on your right and your elevator on your left hand.
So I had 72 megahertz. Those
Yeah.
are the 27, 53, or 72. For 53, you had to have a ham license.
Yeah.
Right. And 27, you get knocked down by a CB radio driving by.
Yeah.
Right.
You get hit on 27.
Same here, all the RC cars or boats.
Yeah.
Overused.
This one was 72 megahertz.
Right.
Yeah, so when you look at the old radios, I fly mode 1 because of the old radios like that, where the ailerons was on your right hand and elevator was on your left. Then they added throttle, and they put that on the right hand. And when the rudder, they put that on your left hand. So that we just added things, and you didn't have to change. But then they came out with mode 2, which then put your elevator and ailerons on the same stick. Like
That's
a real airplane.
That's how the real airplane is. The stick has the elevator and the ailerons,
Right.
and then you have pedals for the rudder.
But yeah, but back in the day, everybody wonders where mode 1 came from. It came from you had 2 sticks, and they weren't a gimbal. They only went in one direction. So that's how they came up with that. And
My first radio was a Russian radio. I paid for it almost close to a 1 month wages at the time, and it was a all or nothing radio. The servos were humongous, and the radio basically had 4 tones. So the transmitter would send a tone, the receiver would receive the specific tone, and when it recognized it, it triggered a relay inside of it. And with triggering of the relay, the servo would move in one position or the other one, but would move to the maximum. So if you want to get something proportional, you had to tap at it. Go click, 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 so something like that. So you would go a little bit and come back to neutral, a little bit, come back to neutral, kind of like that. So
it was called those. Was that the reed relay or reed radio system?
Yeah.
What they call those reed radio?
I don't know what it was called, but this one was a Russian radio.
Yeah, they were the old reeds. They had to tune the reeds.
Probably that's what it is.
What year was that, Terran?
What?
What year was that?
1980.
1980.
Oh, this was 1988, 89. But
Yeah. So you
at the time,
Japanese are, by 89, you had quite advanced systems, I suppose, in the West anyway.
Yeah, there were. And you were still pushing buttons over there?
yeah. Yeah, I put it on my first glider, which was 2.6 meter. It's called the Albatross, and it was a built-up wing with a leading edge sheeting, and we use some thin plywood for the leading edge on that glider, and it was actually my first or second big project to build. Before that, I built a bunch of those kits that they have on a market to build free flight. Free flight, that's something that was covered on both sides, and something that was covered on one side only. It was called phase 1, phase 2 at a time. So that's, that's that. And it was all made with sprue sticks, by the way.
And a buddy of mine had one that you held the receiver, well, the transmitter control in your hand, and it was a 2-channel. Then I had a huge cord that went down to a big box, looked like a suitcase, and it had about a 12, 14-foot antenna that come off of it.
Oh goodness!
And that was a reed type system. But and the sad part of it is, for the World's Fair in New York, I think, what was that, 1902 or 3 or whenever that was, Tesla had a proportional radio that he demonstrated there, and he never patented it. Nobody ever picked up on it until so much later on, when we finally got proportional stuff here. But Tesla is the one that came up with that.
Speaking of Tesla, Lisa and I went and saw the Current Wars last weekend. So it's George Westinghouse, Thomas Edison, and Tesla, and all that shit that went down between alternating and direct current at the turn.
Oh yeah,
pretty good movie. Don't spend $13 to go see it like we did, because it wasn't that good. Wait till it comes out. But definitely go watch it. Pretty good movie. But not worth
Tesla
moving.
was a
yeah. When I was a kid, I read all of their biographies.
Yeah, Tesla was an amazing guy. I mean, just the stuff that he invented and the stuff he came up with, I was like, I'll probably never think of them in a million years. So, brilliant guy.
Now they have the frequency hopping or whatever, where your radio will go back and forth on your frequency. It does something and whatever. But Hedy Lamarr is the one who made that for the military during World War II, the film actress.
Wow.
She was that smart.
No shit, really?
Yeah. And they didn't believe her, and they never used it. It was for torpedoes because they could jam a torpedo. So she did the frequency hopping and the range or whatever, and they never used it until the Korean War time. No. They didn't believe her because it was a woman that come up with it. She turned it in, and they didn't do anything with it.
It's a shame, yeah.
Wow,
that Heathkit radio I built in 1972, and I built it for this plane, which I also built in 72. It's a Navigator, Jetco Navigator.
So do you have to build that around the servos?
It was kind of hard to fit them in there. Now I got 9-gram servos in here, so it was pretty easy.
Well, that's what I said on that, that cadet of ours. The damn thing, has like a 4-inch wide fuselage, and that was to get your servos, 3 servos across that thing or what. I mean, it was hell. Then you had the great big one that hung way down that was in the wing, for the ailerons on that. It was like just crazy. And that's one reason why a lot of airplanes didn't have ailerons, is because the servos were so big to try to get them, the linkage and everything, to get them to work. And they just had rudder.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Yeah, hang on just a second. I got you. All right, you got it. That's the
FP.
Yep.
I forgot. The FP has the big bypass on it. The LA cylinder is identical, except
Okay.
doesn't have the big hole where the bypass is, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll fit in the hole, but it might not feed fuel right.
It'll run like the LA-25 when you put it in the FP.
You think?
Yeah, you're just covering up. Just make sure you have an exhaust port when you slide it in there.
Yeah, no, there is. All three line up except just the shit. The LA doesn't have this one, which I'm
Yeah,
assuming
it has a boost in it.
yeah, the boost port for the bypass, right?
That's why a lot of people like the FPs for slow combat and get more speed out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll slide right in.
You're saying it'll still run with this cylinder,
Yeah,
piston liner.
yeah. That liner will cover up the thing in the case. It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Ain't gonna hurt nothing. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, it fits perfect. It's a perfect fit, and it drops right in. And I've already measured the I don't know what you call the top of the liner there, but they're the same. They're the same thickness there, and they both have the dimple on them to line them up to orient them correctly.
Yeah, but are the ports the proper height?
Yes, they are. They're the same.
Okay.
All the
In that
ports
case,
are
you should be fine.
all the ports are identical. They're the same width, same height, and the same distance from the bottom, and they're all in the same place. It's just the LA is missing that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the boost port. How about the rod? Is the rod the same? Is it the same diameter and length?
Well, I haven't got that far, Gerald.
I would, yeah, I'm sure it is, but worth checking.
I've got some new rods, and I'll say this: the piston pin is a Teflon piston pin on both sides. It's got the little Teflon button on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could, if you wanted to, you could probably put a damn new piston in that old liner and the thing would run fine.
Well, that's what I was gonna do next. I was thinking, but I mean, I got it as an assembly, brand new piston, brand new liner together. I don't know if I want to do that.
Do you have a Bridgeport or a mill or something like that?
I have access to one.
Well, just take the measurements and cut out the port.
Cut out the port. Yeah. No, I could totally do that.
Let's deburr it properly. It's all.
I've heard sometimes the plated coating on the liners will start peeling if you don't cut it exactly right.
You have to cut it. I don't think there's such thing as cutting it right, because if you cut it from the outside, the chips are going to be pulled towards the outside all the time, right?
Yeah.
But you might want to start cutting it from the center and move towards the edge, or leave 20 thousandths or so, come back and clean it up, the very last bit of it.
Well, I'm actually kind of curious about just throwing this LA-25 piston and liner in it and seeing how the damn thing runs.
It'll run like the LA-25.
I want to see for myself,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that'll be the obvious first choice. And if you're not happy with that, then you can just always go back to the other.
Right.
Yeah, there's no difference in them. That's like an FP35 and a LA-40. The LA-40 is bigger, but they drop off that one port. LA's only have the two.
Yeah. Yeah, just for my own experimentation. I'm just going to throw it in there, and I'm going to run it and see what it does. And I'll run it both ways too. I'll run it on suction, on a uniflow suction, and see how it stacks up to the other two FP25s I have on Ringmasters. And then I'll set it up to run on a bladder, and I'll run it on a bladder and see how it compares to the LA-25s on a bladder.
And it'll run the same. That liner doesn't know what case it's in.
You do.
Well, I'm
Might have
the
different
reason
thermal
I say that,
characteristics.
the reason I say that is because I may have stumbled onto something here, man. If I can find, I can get these FP25s clapped out at swap meets for like $5 all day long, man.
Yeah.
They're $5 a piece. If I can get a shit ton of LA25 piston and liners from RC Japan for $10 a piece, now I got me a $15 speed limit combat motor, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you just gotta. A lot of them though, you gotta check the front bushing. It'll be crap.
Yeah, it doesn't matter so much on a bladder though. They'll still run even if the bush wore out.
Oh, okay.
You wait a break. Huh? You wait until there's a break.
So anyway, yeah, interesting. I'm gonna put it back together with the LA 25 piston liner and see what happens, man. I will check the connecting rods. Whoever asked that question, we'll see if those are identical. Because I got some new ones here.
Yeah, the rods are the same. The crank's the same. I mean, how the crank's the same in the 35, 40, and 46. The only thing difference on them is the size of the piston.
Yeah, I set up to Fox 25 for slow combat for my two sons. So I've been using the Fox 19s for slow combat, and I've got a couple of the 25s. I like the way the Venturi rotates round, so I use the RC carb. I put a wooden dowel in the Venturi, and then set up the spray bar so it runs at an angle, so that they're not going to get wiped out. And we've got to run a muffler, so it's got a Vibro on it. But yeah, that's what I'm going to try using the 25s. I've been using the 19s, give the 25s a go for slow combat, but I've been using the old OS 25s on some combat models as well. They've been good. We're just trying to get a little bit more horsepower. Yeah, now that all the motors are getting a bit tricky. They were saying Hobby King's got virtually nothing in stock. That used to be a good source locally for us here, buying motors off Hobby King, but they've just got nothing. Nothing in the way of any.
I saw that. Hobby King, they, through mismanagement and stocking the wrong stuff, they said they diversified into a whole bunch of other crap that they shouldn't have. And now their hobby wing is suffering hard.
Yeah, it's a bit sad for the whole industry. They were obviously a big demand for the manufacturers, and without their demand, a lot of the remanufacturing isn't going to occur. But at least it was good to see when you talked about it the other day that what's it called? RC Japan has the new LA25 Mark IIs. I went and had a look, and yeah, they were on there, so that's a good sign anyway.
Hey, Mike, Al Ferraro just said something I think you already addressed, to check the top of the liner for the locating pin to make sure it's in the same spot. And I think you said it was, right?
It is. It is. The only thing I thought was weird on this head, you know, of course, the LA is a 4-bolt head, and the FPs are a 6-bolt head, but it had this little mark towards the front of the engine, but it doesn't really go in anything. Just a dimple. Just a dimple on there that was facing dead center forward.
Yeah, I have no idea what that's for.
I don't know either, because this head, it's the same all the way around. I mean, there's nothing weird about it where it could only fit one way or the other. But when I took it apart, that huge dimple in between those two bolt holes was facing forward.
It's probably so that. Have you ever seen somebody redone an engine and come out with the fins at 90 degrees to where they should be?
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah, the fins can be sideways. I've seen that.
I've seen that so many times that
That'll make it leak, won't it?
no, it won't make it leak. It won't cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
hot.
cool.
Uh,
I think some
well,
people
yeah, the fins are the wrong way.
Yeah, I think some people do that intentionally, but I think it's on those motors that are running in like speed models where they're trying to lessen the amount of cooling to keep them at optimum operating temperature.
Or if you're flying in freezing conditions.
And we talked
Keep
about
it
that,
warmer.
the switch, change the head sideways in the wintertime
Yeah,
back in the day to try to keep some heat in the motors.
yeah. I accidentally put the head on sideways on an MP jet one time. Somebody on YouTube pointed it out.
The FYI, the connecting rod and the piston pins are identical. They are all the same.
All right.
FP. Yes.
That's good. Well, at least you know it all works. That's quite neat. At least you can revive some old motors.
And like I said, the only thing difference in them was just that port, and they just run higher RPM.
And I noticed that Japan had the FP15 control line. That was the only control line motor they had, but they did actually do one control line motor. Hopefully they'll bring back a control line 46 or 25 in the future.
Maybe. I wasn't crazy about their price though, Gerald. You know, they're getting $119 for the LA25-2. And it's pretty steep.
Yeah.
Pretty steep.
We don't.
And they're not making Venturis for them either, are they?
Well,
They all got carburetors.
They're carbureted RC engines. Yeah, that's what they are.
What it is, though, if you go on eBay, you see people there, they'll pay $150 for an old Fox 35 or whatever, brand new in the box. If Fox started making them again, you couldn't sell the son of bitches for $100.
That's the way of it, yeah.
And that's the same thing with these LA 46s. I seen them for $200 and stuff at swap meets. But they came out with them again. People will bitch if they're $150.
Yeah, it's a human nature. If it's in short supply, they'll always pay more. But that's where the manufacturers are probably just waiting for the demand to increase. But if there's enough you can hand out there, there's no point producing it.
Yeah, there's no parts and there's no motor. I missed out on a 25 and a 46 at the swap meet. This other guy who I know, I run into him at different stuff, and he's actually a control line guy from Kentucky. He picked up a brand new silver LA 46 for $40, and he got a brand new LA 25 for $35.
Damn.
And he, you know, we were joking because he knew if I'd have found them, they'd have been in my bag and not his bag, you know. But they're still out there. The RC guys are dumb, man. They don't know what they got sometimes, you know. They really don't. They don't know. They don't know that some of the stuff that they have is desirable to control line guys. You know, I mean, come on. I got this FP25 brand new in the box for $20 because it's the RC guys don't care about that. Nobody flies a 25 sized RC plane anymore. No one puts a glow motor on a 25 sized plane. They put an electric motor on it. You know, they're not going to mess with Slimers. They don't know that. You know, I put a Venturi and an OS needle on that. That's, you know, it's not $100, but that's $80. I think people would pay for that with the proper Venturi and a stock OS control line needle.
Well, they're a lot of fun. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be big to be a lot of fun. Those little motors can work well on a sports model or a combat model, and you don't have to have a ginormous chainsaw or motorcycle engine airplane to enjoy yourself. And some people sort of miss the point. disregard the Cox stuff. And
I think RC guys would be blown away to know that you can take this motor and put a nozzle and a venturi on it and run it on a bladder, and it'll fly an airplane at 75 miles an hour. I bet half of them have, 90% of them have no clue that you could make a 25 go 75 miles an hour. Just with the right venturi and nozzle in it and running it on a bladder.
Yeah, well, I suppose you look at the little mouse braces or whatever in your life, you can get a lot of fun out of using those 049s. It's just amazing what you see, what people are able to do with a humble 049. When I remember starting up with my Cox ME 109 Super Stunter and its little 049 and how it could fly this big 30-inch span model. It seemed quite incredible.
Mike, what about those RC pylon guys? They move those pretty fast.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
yeah,
a different breed though.
They're motor guys. They know.
Yeah, they know.
But
Yeah,
you know
there's a
what?
different.
They also know what they have because they're engine guys.
Yeah.
I'm talking
Right.
about just general RC.
Your general RC guys don't know it.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
General RC guy doesn't know it.
They don't.
Well, I think that
They don't know.
a lot of the RC guys haven't been in the field a long time. They have a higher turnover of flyers through the different RC clubs, and a lot of them haven't been in there for 10, 20 years, and yet most control liners have been in there for life as far as I know. The control line flyers around here have been doing it most of their lives, so they're very aware, whereas the RC guys tend to come and go like the drone guys. If they add something, they try out, and then they move on. But then you do get those dedicated RC guys that are into their RC soaring or pylon racing or pattern flying, and they want specific motors or specific gear for what they're doing. So it's a very different scene to the RC sports field. But not as much crossover there as there used to be in the past between RC and control line. Steve's got something interesting there. It looks like a pattern motor or something.
Yeah, it's a 145. And I bought that because
Find you.
it's too small.
Too small for today.
Yeah, I mean, now they're flying 200 size 4-strokes that are supercharged. I mean, this one here put out like 4 horsepower. They're putting out more than that now.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the pipe for it and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, RC just went bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, 25s and 40s, they just chuck them now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That's what I'm saying, man. And if I've stumbled onto something good here, that these LA piston liners are working these FP cases, I can have a bunch of super cheap 25 combat motors.
Yeah, they'll work fine, Mike.
What's that, Steve?
I said they'll work fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that, Steve. I'm just thinking that when I started flying RC back in about 1980, I got my first radio set. The average control line RC trainer back then was like a 15 or 25 size model.
Yeah.
And you were flying a big, it was a 40, the PT40, the Great Plains PT40 was a big model back then. And then it just grew and grew and grew. I think once they went past that 60 size limit, then everything just went crazy, and it never stopped, never looked back. But
had
a lot of the little models.
We had one guy flying 60s on a tune pipe in the 70s in Detroit, and he was a pattern flyer, flying a dirty birdie with a 60 and a tune pipe. And he was hot shit, man. He had the biggest motor on the field, man. Everybody else, you know, like you said, it was 25s, OS 35s. The 46 wasn't even invented yet, so a 40 was a big motor. You know, a 40 on a low wing Bonanza or something was a hot sport model. You know, but if you were flying 60 size pattern ships with a tuned pipe, you were the Cadillac on the RC field, man. You know.
Well, and a lot of them back then in the 60 pipe size were what Rusty loves is the Super Tiger small case 60s. I had all kinds of friends that flew them on pipes in pattern, and then Weber came out with the their 60, and then Super Tiger came out with a 60. Then you had the 60s off to the races with Rossi and OPS and stuff like that, you know. But
when's the first time you saw a quarter scale RC plane, Steve?
it was in the 80s.
Oh, that
Yeah,
late.
1980.
Okay.
Yeah. The first time I saw at our field was Satabria or whatever somebody made.
So
and I can't think of the guy that was it Hanson, some made the kit or whatever, and they had a home light chainsaw motor in it.
Okay, so the first ones we had, Byron made the P-51 Mustang. I want to say this was 79, might even have been 78 or 79. They made a quarter scale Mustang, and the guys were flying quadras on them.
Quadras, yeah.
Quadras, and two guys in the club, Andy Pessanon and John Straub, they both built these quarter scale Mustangs with quadras. And this was pre-1980. I'm telling you, I was 10 or 11. So it was probably 77, 78. Couldn't have been any later than 79. But they were the first guys to have quarter scale RC planes at our field at Detroit Aeromodeling. And they would fly them together, you know, do formation flying with them. And back then, man, that was something to see, man. Because, you know, nobody'd ever seen a quarter scale plane before that. Bud Nosen, I think, was making something called a Bud Nosen Trainer, which was a giant Cessna-looking thing for quadra motor. But the first quarter scale stuff that came out was all running quadra motors or converted chainsaw motors or weed whacker motors, stuff like that. It was the first gasser I remember ever seeing. First gasoline engine in an RC plane was when the first quarter scale stuff started coming out.
Yeah, I remember them some of the time. We had, when I was in the North Shore Club, and the club president was Ron Wadman, and he built some really amazing quarter scale models. And he was a full size airline pilot. He was a 747 pilot at the time, and he was pioneering all these big, giant quarter scale models. And he built this really brilliant Miles Magister. It was a low wing, like a Tiger Moth, but with a low wing. Hi, Charles.
Hey, Charles.
And it was a brilliant model. Yeah, there was a sad story to it though, and that what happened was a kid ran out in front of it when he was in his landing approach, and he dunked it in to miss hitting the kid. But yeah, we were on a public field, and we had that sort of problem. You'd have people wander onto the site until they put a fence up, and yeah, it was a bit dangerous because of the number of cars driving through and the hassles with pedestrians or kids in this case. So. But yeah, it was an exciting time because this was all new. These converted chainsaw motors and huge.
So
they still had the big.
About 1981 or 82, I was in high school at the time. This guy in the club decided he was going to take a Falcon 56. Does anybody know that RC plane, the Falcon?
I do.
Yeah.
I had one.
Okay, this guy blew it up 4 times from the original Falcon 56, which had already had like a 4-foot wingspan, 48-inch wingspan. This thing had a 16-foot wingspan.
Whoa!
It was 4 times size, Falcon 56, and he tried to fly it with a quadra. And I'm not shitting you, man. We would cut the field so low, and there was a guy on each wingtip out there running along with the airplane, pushing it. It only flew one time. It only flew it one time. They could never get it off the ground, never get it off the ground, never get it off the ground. Finally, one day when there was like a 7 to 10 mile an hour wind with one guy on each wingtip pushing this thing along. He got it off the ground and did, 4 or 5 minute flight lumbering around the field and landed it, and it never flew again because it was underpowered for the time. 16-foot wingspan, Falcon 56, and it only flew one time that I know of. Because the engine technology just wasn't there. He should have made it a twin. He should have put twin quadrants on it, and then it might have got off the ground. But it was ridiculous, man. Seeing the size of this airplane, it was just ridiculous how huge it was for the time. Today, guys are doing third scale stuff all the time. You see a lot of big third scale stuff, especially over in Europe. Those guys in Germany, they love that big stuff. The bigger, the better.
You know what? If you build something that's that big, you might as well just build a Cree and go fly it with yourself. And forget it.
I bet this thing was the size of a Cree. I wish I had.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah. But
and when I see, I also see people investing in like a jet plane, like $20,000, $30,000. For them kind of money, you can buy yourself a plane, go fly for real.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's just like,
I
don't understand that. I fly model airplanes because I cannot afford that.
Yeah, but you got to remember that it's like my doctor friend spent $20,000 on an RC boat, but it's parked on his $300,000 boat. So as he takes his boat out in Lake Michigan and stuff, he has a little thing to drop it in the water, and then he can run his RC boat.
Yeah. Well, I think there are a lot of people that fly full-size aircraft that fly models because they want to be able to relax with their flying and push the envelope a bit further in areas they couldn't do with a full-size aircraft. So I know we've had a lot of full-size aircraft pilots go through the clubs here because they want a little bit more freedom that a model offers, and that they can choose a subject that they could never build as a full-size aircraft. So they're crossover, but you can't always explain people's passions why they want to do it.
For me, it's something that I would really want to do. It's just, have a pilot's license. I would love to do that, but, not going to happen anytime soon.
Go buy a powered paraglider, man. You don't need a license. Go buy an ultralight. You can be flying for 10 grand, man.
What does it even cost to get a private license anymore? Anybody know?
Probably no.
5,000. 5,000.
No, not 20,000 now.
Well, 5,000.
5,000.
5 or 6. You can get your ground school in your 40 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when I got mine, I think it was 1,300. I had 13 or 1,400 into it, but that was in the 80s.
I presume Tom's holding up his private pilot's license. I can't see properly, but
yeah, that's my license.
When did you get it?
Well, let's see. Well, 10 or 12 years ago.
I was gonna say mine doesn't have a little shiny thing on there, but like I said, mine's from 1982 is when I got my private pilot's license. But it's just a damn white and blue lettered card with the guy's signature on it from the FAA.
And you had medical. Are you current? Are you current? And when's the last time you had a medical?
I haven't flown in 15 years. But the license is always good.
Right. You got to get current, and you got to have an FAA medical.
Which ain't. In an FAA medical, you just go to a regular doctor who does it. It's not like you go to a special doctor or anything. You just have to fill out the right form.
To get current, you just got to go do 3 takeoffs and 3 landings, man, and you're current again, man.
Well, that was just like I had to have a physical for work. I had to have a physical for my commercial driver's license, and I had to have a physical for my pilot's license. It's like, Jesus Christ, what's the hardest physical to pass? You pass that one, all your physicals then should be okay.
Well, I do know that you can't just go to any doctor and get signed off for an FAA medical. It has to be a doctor that can do that. Because I believe
You have
it
to
or
get
not,
an EKG.
well, depending on the age, and the FAA medicals are only good for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, depending on your age. Cap out at certain ages, and then you got to get them done more frequently the older you get. Because I had to have an FAA medical. I'm not a pilot, and I don't have a pilot's license, but I had to have an FAA medical to be a tandem master in skydiving. To renew my rating as a skydiving jump master, tandem master, to take people on skydives, I had to have a class 3 FAA medical done. And the last time I had a medical would have been around 2005, 2006 when I got out of it. And I think I was on every 3 years then. I had to get an FAA medical every 3 years then because I was over 40 at the time. But
yeah, luckily that the doctor friend of mine, he's an internist and I don't know, damn heart doctor and stuff, so he qualifies to give all these damn physicals.
right.
But now he can't give the one for a truck driver. And that's crazy. I mean, that's crazy easy to pass. But you got to go to a special place to have it now. So
Red tape and get people in the end in terms of flying. I know a lot of pilots here just say it's the red tape, the cost of keeping your aircraft airworthy, and the cost of all the various pieces of legislation governing the sport now. And even the same with automotive sport, it's actually becoming more difficult. So models have a purpose, they have a function for people that can't always afford to participate in full-size motorsport or full-size aircraft. So that's one area where modeling can help anyway. Control line in particular, we've got the least amount of regulation along with free flight.
Well, that's
But,
why we're lucky here, Gerald, with ultralights and microlights and powered paragliding. A lot of that stuff is still really unregulated. If it falls into that category, it's exempt, and you don't need a pilot's license to do it,
No,
I
they've
mean,
swallowed it all up.
that's how I get away with it. I'm no pilot. I don't have a license, but I fly out, PPGs. The cheap, easy way to fly. And as far as right now, it's still pretty much unregulated by the federal government. There's a few, you still got to follow all the federal aviation regulations, but you don't have to have a license to do it. You don't have to register your aircraft. So we still have that for a little while.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it while you can. That's all I can say there.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get taken away at some point or start to get more heavily regulated, but it's always been pretty easy here. And as long as we don't have too many knuckleheads out there doing stupid shit, they're not going to pay attention to it, As long as everybody's following the rules that there are and not doing dumb stuff, we'll fly under the radar, so to speak, But the first time you get a guy landing a backpack-powered unit in an NFL football game, that's going to put the scrutiny on everybody, and
And there's probably an idiot that's planning on that right now.
Maybe.
Not talk about it.
I would not be surprised. I mean, the people that want their 15 minutes of fame, they're just doing the stupidest things ever. And they ruin it for everybody else.
They do.
That count.
I mean,
Oh,
the
You know
guy
what?
would,
Even if it came to all that, I
No.
still wouldn't be worried about me flying my or I do. If they said you had to have a license and you had to have this and had to have that, what are the odds that some FAA guy is going to catch me flying mine out of a cow packer 40 miles south of Nashville? You know, somebody would have to call and complain, or there'd have to be an FAA guy to see me doing it. I mean, I don't know. There's still ways to get around it, even if they do impose heavier regulations. You know, you just go do a bunch of bandit shit, you know, under the radar and not get caught.
Did you see the ultralights that come out from Europe? Some of them are just like smoking fast. I mean, some of those ultralights is just pushing 200.
200 miles an
they're
hour.
really.
Some of them,
They've
yeah.
got I've seen that they're very, very high performance. So they've got performance much greater than a light aircraft would have had 20 years ago. They've really got ability and enormous horsepower. Here in New Zealand, they've broken them all up into different classes based on their horsepower and stuff, and the insurance and all gets more and more expensive and difficult. But even the same owning a motorbike here now, they've put the cost of registration insurance up so high because they realise it's the cost. When us old blokes crash our motorbikes, then it's the cost of the health system. When you've got a relatively free health system, and you've got people killing off their motorbikes, they then put the cost back on them in terms of the insurance and the registration cost. And it costs maybe 10 times as much to insure your motorbike than it does your car, simply because of that accident potential.
And you're saying the same thing with ultralights, but based on horsepower and speed and stuff like that?
Yeah.
See, here they haven't caught on to any of that stuff yet. If it's under 254 pounds, they don't give a shit. It's an ultralight.
Yeah.
If it has to have can't have a gas tank more than 5 gallons, so they're all 4.95 gallons, and they got to weigh under 254 empty weight, and you're good to go. No pilot's license. If you can pay for it, you can fly it.
Hey, Mike.
If you can buy it and it's underweight, you can go fly it.
Mike, if you look at the Shark ultralight, the thing goes 300 kph.
Really?
Yeah.
See, now that's but a classification for an ultralight is probably different in Europe than it is in the United States.
I don't say no.
But it doesn't fit the same. I bet it weighs more than 254 pounds. It has to.
But it's a twin. It's a 2-passenger plane.
It's a two. So automatically, see, that's not the same thing as an ultralight in the United States. An ultralight can only be a 1-passenger vehicle.
Oh, I see.
And under 254 pounds.
For some reason, I thought ultralights have like a 2-passenger qualification as well.
Okay, you're
talking about light sport.
Yeah, well, no, not light sport is something completely different too. Under Part 103, there used to be, you could fly a tandem ultralight, okay, ultralight airplane or a tandem powered paraglider or a tandem powered parachute for instructional purposes only. They were exempt under Part 103 for that, for instructional purposes. A few years ago, they changed the laws and they changed Part 103. Any 2-place ultralight now has to have an N number, has to have a federal registration number, and the pilot in command must hold a pilot's license to take a passenger up in an ultralight. Did I say that right?
Yes, that's correct. And the next class up is light sport, which you still have to have a license, but you can have 2 people in the plane.
Correct.
And with light
where
sport.
the chatbox comes in.
What was your question, John?
Is that where the kit fox comes in? It's a side by side seating.
Yeah. Kit
Yeah.
Fox is light sport.
Okay. Is that Carter? I see there.
You're on your own.
Hey, John. Good to see you,
How
John.
you doing there, Joe?
I recognize your voice. I haven't seen you
Didn't
since.
recognize all this.
I haven't seen you
I'm
since
getting ready for playing Santa
2016.
this year.
What was that again?
See, I play Santa every Christmas time. That's what this is all for.
Ah, very good. Well, you look like Santa Claus to me.
Hey, Charles.
You just need your red outfit on.
Just going to interrupt you for 1 second because I want to finish up with Tryon on what we were discussing.
No problem.
The ultralight thing, the two-place ultralight thing, the reason the feds took it away is because too many people were abusing it. It was supposed to be for instruction, but what it ended up being was a guy buys it so he can take his friends, his kids, his wife for plane rides, or guys that are selling rides in airplanes and not really teaching. It was supposed to be a teaching tool under Part 103, but it got abused so bad they took it away.
Yeah. I put a link in a message box for you guys if you want to take a look at it.
All right, I'm going to look at it for sure.
Well, guys, I'm out of here for tonight. We'll see everybody Friday.
All right.
All right, John.
Good night. Good night, young man.
Steve. All right, Steve. I got John in my brain here.
Yeah, I thought you were retired, man.
Carter.
Yeah.
How'd the contest go?
Well, it was going well. You know, I'm ready to burp the motor on the Sunday. I flood it, won't start, and then I get to my first official event. I grab my rubber hose to whack the prop. Somehow, in my excitement, I lose the hose and it falls through the wing, and it goes through the covering. So at that time, it was like fair winds. It was nice, and so I told the judge about it, and they said, "Okay, well, we'll take an attempt." I took an attempt, came back, taped it all back up, went back out there, and then it was windy. But yeah, I did pretty good. I mean, it was kind of windy there, and the plane weighed 80 ounces. It had put on some weight since last time it was there, and I flew pretty good. I didn't place, but I did fly pretty good.
Well, did you get your engine running okay?
Oh yeah, it was running. It was it ran great. I wish people knew what motor it was because they'd probably be surprised, because I hear a lot of negative things about the stock 81, but if anyone ever saw mine run, they would go, "Wow!" I mean, people who have asked me go, "Wow, that is a really nice motor." Not everybody asks what motor it is, but those who do ask me, they're pretty impressed with it. It ran great.
A lot of people don't know how to run them. Did you change the piston and the cylinder?
I did. Thank you very much. I ended up changing the piston and cylinder, and it ran fantastic.
Excellent.
It really it was great to have a backup. I'm telling you, man. Well, that was a difference, because I was able to go there somewhat prepared. Even though I had to swap it out, but it was much better than having to bring a completely different airplane.
Or not having another airplane and having to go home.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it worked out good. So how did your wife's surgery go? All right.
Well, it's going okay. She's going back in. They think they got it all, but she's going in for a meeting the end of this week with the doctors for the radiation and chemo setup. So I was hoping she wouldn't have to go through that, but apparently she's going to have to go through 6 weeks of it.
Well, I'll definitely keep in my prayers.
Appreciate
Praying for
that.
joy. Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely, John.
you betcha.
Joy,
Sorry to
joy,
take over
joy.
like that, but I hadn't seen Charlie for a long time.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
prefer
you were
Charlie.
saying one of your friends told you to check out the show, and I guess that must have been Charles. So I thought about it when you were telling me that, but I didn't mention it. So thanks for putting him on to us, Charles.
Yes, I had mentioned to him, and I said, "Hey, let's get you on here. We need some new blood." And I'm glad he did it on his own. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good to always see a new face and some new ideas and share some information.
Yeah,
John,
well,
you talk
John,
too
like
much.
John Miller is definitely the stalker man. He knows about stalker engines very much.
And he talks too much.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
let's get the chance to get to feel
I
us
saw
all
his
out.
picture once in a while. I was like, whoa, someone else is here. And nothing, not a peep.
Yeah, and John also has some designs. What's your website? Is it Classic Models? Is it, or what is it called, John?
It was CAD Classics, and
CAD Classics.
I was involved in with the CAD operation. I was involved in several. You familiar with the Pathfinder? I do the plans on that, worked on the development. And Gordon Delaney's big Heinz 57. Yeah, that was one of the projects we worked on together. So there's others.
What do you do the CAD with?
I use I use AutoCAD on a computer, obviously.
Is it the old version?
It's a let's see, what is it? 2002. It's good enough for what I need to do to draw plans. It's old, yeah.
Hey, I'm still using Office 97, so it works fine for me.
Hey, there's people using illustrating programs that are doing plans. CorelDRAW.
Truth is that for most,
Yeah, I remember Corel from back in the 80s or 90s. I guess 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real cool. Yeah.
We want to go way back.
Plans.
You want to go way back? You
All
go
right,
back to AutoCAD.
yeah. I just finished both wing molds are just about done. All I have to do is just work on the two ends of the molds, the tip and the root. On the root, I just have to cut it straight out, make a couple of pockets for the pins, and that's it. And on the tip, kind of the same. Just shape it off and just cut it flat on a proper height. And those wing molds are done after that. Yay!
Are you doing CNC on it?
Yeah.
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 What wings are you trying?
The wing is for Revolutions, the outboard wing. What we decided to do is that because we use so much tip weight on outboard wing, we decided to go and modify the outboard wing and have a brand new mold made for it. That will have a little bit less wingspan and a little bit more flaps area.
Oh, okay. So just the outboard wing. Everything else is the same. Inboard, fuselage, elevator, rudder, all the same.
Yes, and because we did that, we also added a new horizontal mold. So what we did by the goal was to have molds for everything now, so we can lay everything in a molds in one day, probably a very long one day, and then the next day we can close all the molds, and basically that's it. When you open the molds, you have usable parts already. And
okay, so
that's it.
When does the builder of model classroom start at Trian's shop in Florida?
This
is the ultimate goal, right? Is if
it's Atlanta, Georgia.
And Georgia. Oh, you're in Georgia? I thought you were in Florida. I'm sorry.
No, I'm in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
My wife's from Atlanta.
I thought for some reason I thought you were in Jacksonville. I don't know why.
No.
But if somebody comes there and lays everything up, does that count as a BOM model using your molds?
Of course, yeah. Yeah. There's nothing illegal about it.
It's like a kit, really, isn't it? At that point.
Actually, you could probably get somebody to build the wings for you, and you just come back and come in and just do the fuselage.
Yeah. Okay.
And even the horizontal, because it's the horizontal, it's excluded from the rules. The way the BOM rules are being written, if I understand them correctly, you can buy a major component, and you can, but you have to make the other major component.
Correct.
And the flaps, elevators, and rudders are not included in that list. So basically, I'm talking about the wing and the fuselage.
Right.
You either build a wing or you build a fuselage. Either way, you're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, is that where you're headed with this stuff? You know, to make them available, or is it just super secret stuff you're gonna keep to yourself?
It's not super secret. It's not that I keep it to myself. I just don't have time for it.
Right.
That's the
But I
problem.
mean, nobody else can make the molds like you did. I'm sure you have. I can't even imagine the amount of time and expense you have in these molds. You know, it's got to be ridiculous.
Yeah. Now there would be an option to send the molds to somebody to make their own parts, right?
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that would be they would have to go through a very, very steep learning curve. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know how to make that work, unless you have a video of some sort, and you watch the video and you do precisely exactly what the video says.
Yeah.
Step by freaking step. No exceptions, no variations. Period.
Yeah.
And that would be simply because we went through it already, and we know what works and what doesn't work.
Sure.
So you don't waste your time and money and efforts or something like that. So probably I don't know what that would be. Something like that. Oh, nice kitty.
Yeah, I better feed the kitty.
Just to compare apples and oranges, what is the cost of a finished Revolutions?
What are you talking about?
Materials. And I'm not counting the molds. I'm discounting the molds here. Just the materials.
Material only?
To build one, and a motor package and batteries and like all up, hardware, everything.
Materials are roughly about $200.
Okay.
The motor package that I'm using the Igor timer, which is 100 and change. And the motor is really inexpensive. It's about $50. And the batteries are the 6S 2800 milliamps from Thunder Power, which are like, I don't know, you can get them on sale for $50 a piece.
So like under $500, it sounds like.
Well under.
A little under, yeah. Because I've been seeing on the Facebook control line group that these Russian guys are selling these take apart models now, and they're advertising to U.S. guys $900, I think, for a
900.
No motor though, no motor. Just the model.
Yeah.
And it's made for the Stalker motor. Damn, I can't think of the name of the airplane, but you can get it in red or blue, or you can get white if you want to paint it yourself. But it's a take apart model from it's either Russia or the Ukraine, They're
I
being
think I saw
advertised.
them, but I didn't know they were that inexpensive because $900, I mean, is really cheap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it?
Sure.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess it's
it is.
it's cheap compared to a Yatsenko, right? Compared to a Shark
Yes.
or something like that. Aren't they
Yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah.
$3,000 for those
Well,
or something?
Or $3,000 NZ, but yeah, I imagine about 2,000
But
US.
that
But
you're
I'm
getting a
not
motor with those, right? You're getting a motor with those, right?
Yep.
sure. Yeah, I better go. I'll sign off for now and bid you all good night. And I'll go and feed the cats and make sure the dinner's warmed up before my wife gets home. So
All right.
yeah,
Got to make it look
Yeah.
like you did a whole
Good.
day's work in about 15 minutes now.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Good.
Like
Yeah.
you know, it's my stunt hanger night if I can get on. Yeah. Anyway, good night all, and catch you
All
later.
right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Gerald.
Gerald.
Thanks,
Take
Gerald.
Good
care.
night.
Good night, Gerald.
Thanks, Gerald.
Avoid the catastrophe.
Gerald.
So-
You're gonna lose my video here for a second. I'm gonna look up that airplane and see if I can find what it is.
All right. I'm going to click on Tom's picture here. See what he's holding up for us.
McCoy 35.
35.
For $10. You see that?
$10.
Is that
Wow.
a redhead?
Redhead.
Yeah.
Mm.
And what's the difference in the color of the heads? I know they got red and green, right? Wow.
Red and blue.
Red and blue. Okay.
Is
the
that brand
blue
new in
is
a
our
box?
state.
What?
Is that brand new in a box?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's
The
gonna
blue
give you
head was
$10 for it.
RC.
Somebody's gonna give you $10 for it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna sell for $10.
I had to go there.
Although
Is that the 40?
35.
Oh, okay.
Should I ask Charles the question or not?
No,
Or
I
not.
haven't been drawing any.
Or not?
I have not been drawing. I'm still working on my garage, and but I will get back to it. Matter of fact, I picked up some. I was driving in a neighborhood and saw a yard sale, and this lady, she gave me a big assortment of really nice coloring pencils and stuff. So
Oh,
I
cool.
got some supplies now.
Oh, so that was the whole back. You had to go find a yard sale to draw 3 lines with a freaking pencil. Mm. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tryon. But I'm pretty happy with the color scheme I drew up.
Sure.
I'm just I was preparing for that contest, and now I'm back. And today is my son's birthday, so that's why I was late. He turned 14 today, and just I got lots of things going on.
I just love how you excuse yourself. And I just let you. I don't care. Fine.
I'm gonna stop. I know you have school and you have a son and married too. So
I'll let you dig your own hole.
Oh man, that's so true. Just excuses.
Horrible.
Just excuses.
I tell you, man, those Romanians are just pain in the ass. Oh man, yeah. So we are pretty happy with the progress we made. I'm pretty happy that I found out what to do with the painting in a mold. So I think we are just on a very good solid footing right now. We made some mistakes, but mostly mistakes. The mistakes we made are mistakes that made our life a little bit more difficult that otherwise should have been. So those are the kind of mistakes. It's nothing flying wise, it's nothing built wise, it's nothing weight wise, none of that stuff. But when I put the fin on the bottom of fuselage and that step for the canopy to blend it on a turtle deck on the back, like you have Um, so it's like you have a fuselage like this, and you have another one on top of it, right? What was that? Um, anyways, because the way it's shaped, it's a lot made it made it a lot more difficult to mold. So those are the kind of mistakes. It's like shape that make the molding more difficult than it should be. So that's that on the nose area, because you have the scoop, that F-15 kind of scoop underneath with the nose and the way it shapes and the curves around, stuff like that. So that that became a little bit more difficult than it should have been. So when I say mistakes, those are the mistakes we made overall. But
That's not bad.
yeah, but
That's good.
yeah, I mean those are not even mistakes, but I consider like mini mistakes, right?
Right. Well, you got a better way after you think about it.
Yeah, I mean it's like I already know if I was going to make the next generation revolutions would be greatly simplified build wise. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I would simplify the build itself. So probably the fuselage look like a Spitfire kind of looking fuselage. Everything it's elliptical shape from the nose to the tail, and you blend in the rudder on it. So it's very simple to do, easy to mold, and
So
and
it's always an ongoing learning process, isn't it?
oh yeah, you always learn something. I mean, just like it's never what you expect. So yeah, we did fight for a while with this trying to do the painting in a mold, and we tried everything, but we didn't try the correct combination, and that's the key in molding, any kind of molding. If we have to have the right combination of mold material, the mold itself, the right combination of release system that you put in a mold, and the right combination of stuff that you throw to make the part. And every combination takes you at least a day or two to figure it out, right? Because you have to make the part, you have to join the molds, and then try it out, see if it works, or whatever.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, that's the beauty of the mold. I mean, you don't like it, okay, I want to do something slightly different. Why am I going to do different? The question is, right? So based on what your answer is, like, try something else, whatever it is. So, but
What'd you figure out for the paint?
For the paint, I was just watching a video of what is. Oh. Anyways,
we got some rock and rolling going on in the background there.
So what I think we figured out, because we didn't try it yet, is that after watching a video, I saw a guy making glider wing, and what he did into the mold, he did the painting in a mold, and he put a video of that. I watched it when he was doing the painting itself. He was mixing the paint, and I was like, it's a two-part paint, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it had to be some kind of paint you mix up. Those are the two-part paints, and that just light up. And when I looked at the mold, I saw some very faint streaks in the mold, which told me that the mold is prepped with semi-permanent release system. So the combination was actually semi-permanent release system with two-part paint, and it kind of makes sense, because every time I had issues where the paint would release, right? So that was my problem. Where the paint was going to release, it was getting sticky to the mold, right? And many times I had chunks of paint that was being stuck to the mold. I had to take some kind of either sand it off, repolish, and blend in that area and stuff like that, and fix it. But was mainly from the paint, and I used the semi-permanent, but the wrong paint. And all semi-permanents are pretty much compatible with the epoxies or urethanes or something like that, some of that nature. And that's the two-part paint, right? It's urethane mainly, or acrylic two-part. Well, anyways, you have a catalyst to it. It's like an epoxy kind of thing, right? So I think we got it figured out, and now we know what to use. So we are very happy about it, because I guess in the next perhaps the next generation planes with the new wing and everything done, I might sneak out and go take a 2-3 a couple of days off, maybe a Friday and a Monday, and or maybe even 3 days off, and run over there to Illinois and knock a plane out in 3 days. So that'll be kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's doable.
3 days.
I mean,
the plane's all painted and everything, right? It's all completed.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 3
That's
days.
fast.
Yeah. So what you do is it 3 days? Yeah, in the first day you do the painting, and you do all the preparations, right? Cut all the material, have it all ready to go and stuff like that. And the second day you mold everything. So you have 4 wing molds, you have 4 elevator molds, and the 4 fuselage molds. You load them all up. And it's pretty much doable, because it takes you about half an hour to 45 minutes maximum to do each part. Some are faster. So that's about the amount of time you spend to put one in a mold. And then you reserve the next day, to take all of those molds out of the wherever you put them, and join them together. Put the hardware inside, whatever. So that'll be the third day. So during the fourth day in the morning, you just take them out of the mold. And basically, in the fourth day, if you're really fanatic, you can start painting the next plane. I mean, it's that quick. Oh, obviously after that, you have to do some minor stuff, like cutting the windows, cutting some spar locations, and start to do some minor assembly stuff, right? But it's pretty quick. So that's that. And yeah, you can have a plane in 3 days. I mean, in a week for sure you can fly it.
So in your mold, do you have the attachment parts? So when you attach your front to the fuselage, is it in the mold, the holes for the?
It's all built into it. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. When I close the 2 halves, I also have an end plate that goes on the end of it, right?
Right.
And it's perfectly positioned in position, and that end plate has built into it pins, locator pins, and all kinds of stuff in there that aids with the assembly and disassembly, and I put the hardware inside of it. So then when I take the part out of there, all I have to do is just cut a little window, and the cup it's already ready to receive the locking mechanism. And all I have to do is just take a drill and just drill through the existing hole, which is in position and at the correct size, and just punch a hole through the aluminum cup, right? And that's all I'm doing. That's it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit of blending in the flash that's on the corners usually. So, but that's yeah. On the fuselage, what I do, I glue the 3 spars that go across. Then I glue the 3 pins that go that locate. I mean, the 2 pins on the back that locate my elevator in position, and then I glue the main spar for the elevator. And I also glue in the bearing material for the control horns. That's
What's the wingspan on that?
60 something, 62 I think it's now.
Good size, nice size. What's the square inches?
710.
That's right at what Charles likes there. Big airplanes.
Yeah. Yeah, but his is much lighter. I wish I could have flown Tryan's plane. He left. I think he left Friday, right after the qualifying round. I didn't get a chance to fly his plane. But everybody else who flew it said it was fantastic.
Yeah, I never got any bad reviews on anything. Or maybe they were nice. I didn't want to say anything about it. Whatever, But for me, I find it like it's very nice. I mean, it's very nice. We have the. I mean, I think we can probably make a plane easily in a 54 ounces. For a plane.
Man, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, just like, and even as is right now, I'm flying right now around 60, and the corner is just explosive. I can't keep up with it. I mean, just like this, my problem is that I cannot keep up with it because it turns so quick. It kind of disappears out of your eyesight, and you reacquire it when it's already turned. You just can't keep up with it. I mean, if you do a square over it, you turn, stop, and just wait until you get to the next corner. And you turn, stop, and just wait. I mean, you definitely have those straight lines that go forever, kind of thing. So,
where do you have your CG located at?
It's close to 4 inches back.
Compared to the MAC?
It's at it's 13 and something, 13.25. If you look at the wing platform of an SV11, right? You keep everything the same except for the span. It's a little bit longer. It's the same thing.
That's probably why it turns so well. You've got it probably just set perfectly behind the MAC. Keeps it in controllable range and yet has an explosive corner.
Yeah. So what we're thinking about experimenting in the future is have a lighter plane and move the CG forward to help the tracking a little bit better. I mean, I would like to have a little bit better tracking, but right now it's like I can get it, I can lock it in, and it just flies very nice. It's not hunting, but it's very. It takes a little bit of finesse to really put it and hold it in position. So just to make it more friendly, we think about the lighter plane with a more nosy, with a heavier, with a more forward CG.
Are you running down thrust in there?
No, everything is zeroed.
Is it? You got some good ideas there. Should have success.
Yeah. We made it with a bit longer tail. We have a lot bigger moment on a tail, and it's much further back than what we're used to, and airflow is a lot thinner.
18 or 20 inches.
22.
Whoa, it is long.
and you have to add on top of that, because the elevator is not straight, it's backwards. It has a sweep back. The elevator is swept back, so it moves the center of pressure even further back, and it also has a little bit of a dihedral into it to put it in clean air, so it locks very well. But it's a little bit I mean, it's very friendly to fly, right? But once in a while, I have to just work a little bit too much in level flight. That's only beef I have against. It's just a little bit too much work in level flight. That's it. But it tracks nicely.
I've found with mine that I've been flying, I've been adding a little down thrust in the front. Just it has made a big difference for me. It tracks. The last the most noticeable plane was Dave Gerke's All-American Eagle, which has anhedral in the stab and elevator, and it flies. It locks in, and you can take your eyes off it and level flight. It'll just stay right there, unless the wind's bouncing
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Yeah. In a wind, I have no issues in a wind. I was at the nets and the wind was blowing a little bit at the nets, right, Charles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind was blowing at the nets.
Yeah. But I was flying at 5.4, 5.5 lap time, no issues.
Excellent.
Just plowing right
Didn't-
through it.
Didn't Steve Hines build one of your planes?
He got a set of wings from me. So
Okay.
he was going to return to make a fuselage. Whenever, I don't know. He might talk to Mark McKinney and talking between them and just go and do it over there at his place. He has them
Hey,
all,
John.
so
Yeah.
John, I have been listening to you. The Strega that I'm building, it has a little bit of down thrust in it. So I'm actually putting that in my next build. It has it. And I'm looking forward to it. It
Yeah,
caused me a little
go.
bit of grief because I actually put the fuselage in the fuse jig, and I pushed the crutch down, and then when I took it out of the jig the next morning, I found that I had up incidents. So it took me a couple times to do it right. But I do have down incidents in it now after the second try.
Yeah, you don't need much, and 1.5 to 2 degrees. That's about it.
Yeah, I think I
draw
did.
mine. I draw all my planes, and I set it up in the drawing so that I've got. If you build it the way it's drawn, you'll have about 1.5 to 2 degrees of down thrust in it. Depends on which plane it is. But I've found I know Bob Whiteley real well, and this is one of the things he said that always works. You're getting rid of the I think it's the precession in the prop, wanting to turn your nose up, and by having that little bit of down thrust, you get rid of most of that, and it seems to make a huge difference. At least it does for me. I hope it does for you too, Charles.
I'm looking forward to it. And I did speak to Bob Whiteley, and he referred me to a real plane that had a real significant down thrust in it. And he said that a lot of real planes have down thrust, so they can fly level.
That's true. You're amazing. Look at there.
John, it's from hole to hole. It's 21 3/4.
That's long. What's your elevated stab in relation to your wing? Huh? What's the percentage?
The same percentage as on SV.
I usually try to get like at least 24% in mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as far advanced as you are. I'm telling you honestly, but I'm finding this interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see, this is the stuff I glue inside that are these hard points.
Yeah.
And then I have the pins in here.
Yeah. That's cool.
And these are just. So this is the pin that's in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay.
So by screwing it in and out, I can adjust it to the finish distance. But the position distance between all of them, it's fixed. So if I make another wing or something like that, because of the precision of all the molds and stuff like that, I can just bolt it right in. I might have to adjust the overall length of them a little bit, but that's it.
That's not that airfoil you're using is not an NACA airfoil. It looks more like one that a friend of mine showed me. And that's hell to get old because you forget names when you want them. But it's got a nice
And
entry on it.
This is a 2" and 1/8 over here.
Uh-huh.
And the tip it's about 1" and change thickness. Good. It's very clean aerodynamically. I mean, just I'm flying this thing, or I'm putting a whole pattern on it on about 1400 milliamps, which is, it's nothing.
It's clean.
Yeah, it's very clean. Yeah, it doesn't use a lot of energy at all. So it's, the funny part, we made a decision to stay with the 2800 milliamps batteries, 6S, right? And they're pretty heavy batteries, right? But even with those batteries, we are still very light and comfortable in a low 50s, right? And and the decision to keep the batteries, there were actually two decisions. Number one, we have them. Number two, when we're using a flight, when you take the battery out, it's already in storage charge. So it's not much to worry about it, right? And actually, the third decision was we needed some nose weight anyways. So even with this battery, I think we have to push it forward another inch or so to get a little bit better CG without any weight penalty or something like that. So the new nose construction will have a different shape here on a formers, and the way the battery attaches on the rails and stuff like that, the rails are going to be modified. So now we can go through the nose compartment all the way to the front with the battery if we want to. So we have a very broad band of adjustments that we can try and see whatever we like or don't like. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea to it. And yeah, this is the.
Well, it's certainly depressing me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. You know what? You're right, John. It is kind of depressing. He's so far ahead of us. It is kind of depressing.
Well, I didn't say depressing. I said impressing.
Oh, impressing. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I can swear I heard deep.
Well, I'm just going to be devil's advocate here. The revolutions, what you're doing is phenomenal, but then you should be spanking everybody at every contest and winning the nationals. I mean, that's the goal, right? The ultimate goal is to have the most badass airplane out there.
Yeah, I mean, you can have that, but still it takes, time to practice and perfect your skills and stuff like that. So
Sure.
What I found out is that if the plane is better than you, you can make progress. If the plane is not better than you, you can fight. So kind of the choice is yours at that point.
And I kind of resemble the latter.
Yeah. So if you keep fighting and fighting, you can make progress. But right now, I know I have a tool which far outperforms me. I know I cannot fly. I cannot possibly get my flying skills up to the levels at which this guy can do. I mean, if you can imagine just driving down in a windy condition, just driving down out of a wing over, just really go deep and pull out very late, probably later than you ever thought possible. And you pull it off. And then you figure it out, you still have about a few more feet to spare.
Yeah.
And you go like, holy smokes. That's the feeling you get. That's the level at which this thing can fly. It's unbelievable. It's to me. I mean, and I didn't fly crap before this. I was flying pretty much I was an SV guy, the Intrepid, Randy Smith designs with the what did I have? Rojet 50 tune pipe and stuff like that. So it's no shit plane, right? But this one is just like that plane doesn't hold a candle to this one. I mean, is that staggering? The difference is staggering, even at that kind of level, And you flew the SV when your plane was probably well trimmed, and you got the fuel tank repaired and was flying pretty good probably at the time, right? Is it or no? Not really.
That's from Mike, right?
Mike, yeah.
Oh, you're talking to me? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was SV is just a really nice plane to fly, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Imagine going well above that level.
Wow.
I mean, that's the difference. So, I don't have the skills. I recognize right now I don't have the skills to. I mean, I'm decent, but I don't have the skills to beat a Fitzgerald or something like that. But it's like, hey, if you can imagine a plane that does a square 8 in 20 degrees worth of elevation, and it's a defined square 8. I mean, you see the flats, you see everything there, right?
Well, first you got to compete against Fitzgerald. You got to fly in open. You got to fly in open.
Yeah, I mean, no, I flew against him at 333, and and I know, it's just like he's. I think if I had the practice and a coach, I could do very, very well. It's not the equipment that holds me back. No, not at all. No way. It's the time to go out and practice and the lack of a coach. Those are my two biggest deficits. Yeah. I was taking a video of a flight that I had a while ago, and I was looking at it. It's like, what am I doing over there? I was watching my entry points on the squares. I was entering at 35 degrees. I was entering at 35 degrees. Not a problem. I still corner. I still go the flat, and I still corner, and I still go the flat. It's still there. I could make my life so much easier going higher, but I just don't know about it because I have no preference and nobody's helping me, and I'm alone. That's my problem.
I knew a fellow that flew an SV, and he had a Super Tiger 60 in it, and it was just beautiful equipment. But he always flew alone, and we used to always tell him, all you're doing is practicing all your mistakes till you get them perfect. And that's what happens without a coach. You're right. A coach and time to do it is the key.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find myself hard. For me, it's hard right now. Like I'm saying, oh, I have to fly it bigger. So I'm flying it bigger, and I find myself for the next flight, I'm going small again. I'm just flying too bloody small. I can do it. I mean, it's not a problem. I can definitely do it. It's just, yeah.
I was taught something.
I'm not exaggerating doing the square 8 in 20 degrees worth of elevation.
I was taught something that helped me with something like that. And I'll just throw it out here. You guys can trample it or you can think about it. But I was always taught to count when I'm in the corners. To count it. Hit the first one, 2, 3, and you get the timing down doing that. And you do it on every corner. You'll have I don't even have to look for the ground when I do that, because when I hit that
Uh-huh.
number, I turn and I'm right there.
Yeah, it's good for that, but it's not good for intersections. Your intersection will be screwed up if you do that.
Are you saying to use a cadence when you're doing your
Yeah.
corners on a cadence?
Yeah.
The first three is good for the cadence, but the fourth one you cannot use it because the top is smaller than the bottom. The bottom is longer. If you use the cadence, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 1. You're gonna already shift it inside, well inside.
Yeah,
about
I see
5 to 7 feet. So you can use that for like 1, 2, 3, 4. Find your intersection again. Intersection 2, 3, 4. Intersection again 2, 3, 4.
That's what you got to do. You got to check your intersection.
Yeah, if you do the cadence like you said, because the top is always less than the bottom.
Right.
You can imagine that because the nature of the beast, right? And you fly the top, come down, and pull up. And if you do the cadence again, if the first one was here, the second one you pull in here. So now you have square, 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 square. They kind of overlap, right? And actually, funny thing is going to happen. The second one, as you come vertical, is going to be the no original intersection. But the first one is so your vertical intersection are all on two parallel lines overlapping. So you climb here, the second climb is here. You come out of the outside, you climb here, and the second climb is here. So it kind of move.
Yeah, you have to watch your intersections at the bottom there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So obviously you already know about that.
Yeah.
Well, he does.
So,
I had never heard the cadence thing before, so I'm more interested to hear a little bit more from you about that, John.
Well,
the only thing, let me ask you this: what about from day to day, hour to hour, and the wind changes? The cadence will change with the wind speed, won't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why visualizing probably sometimes works better. It works.
That's why though. That's why a lot of our top pilots have always been musicians. You know, they're used to picking up the cadence. If you do a practice flight and you're in the wind and the wind stays relatively the same, you can figure out the cadence, and like you do have to watch your intersections. You definitely have to, but if you watch your intersections, do the cadence, you'll have, in my experience, I had better shapes. I had better shapes, and I got higher scores.
Yeah. I think there are two philosophies there. Number one is cadence, which Bob Hunt was very good at it since he's a musician, and he had his very good cadence. And the second one is visualizing the shape and fly on a shape. That's like two different things, right? Maybe combine both of them. I don't know. But yeah, so the visualization is kind of like you look on a background, you kind of draw your shape, whatever it's a triangle, right? And just in the background, kind of focus more on the shape than on the plane. Just kind of draw with a plane. Put like a pencil on a chalk. And this is a Ted Tancher style.
Yep.
So you have top pilots that fly them both. So it depends on what works for you. Now, if Mike is a combat pilot, so he's pretty used to flying super fast and stuff like that. For him, probably visualizing is going to work better because he's quick enough. I mean, comfortable enough to, when he flies and gets in a stunt plane that's flying relatively slow and stuff like that. For him, he just look in front of the plane, look at the shape, and as the plane comes around, just boom, just lock it on the shape. And then, obviously the takeoff and inverted flight, you don't do that, right? You don't need to, but
Yeah, we all have our different little crutches. I for round loops, keeping them round and keeping them the same size inside and outside.
Mhm.
For me, the breakthrough came when I realized it had to do with where my center of gravity was. If my center of gravity was too far back, then then as I went around, let's see, if it's too far back, I went around. I had too much in the nose, and it wanted to open up. If I'm remembering this right, and on the other side, going outside, it wanted to close up. And so you always have to fly every bit of that hemisphere, every bit of that circle to try to get them equal size. But when you get your CG located in the right place, you can literally give it control and just hold that control, and it'll come around. And unless the wind's blowing you a little bit, it'll scribe right on top of one another.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you have CG location is critical to a setup. If it's too far forward, it's not going to corner, but it's going to fly very nice rounds. It's going to lock in lock nicely in the rounds and fly. CG too far back is going to be, okay. When I'm talking CG range, I'm assuming the plane is tracking, right?
Yeah,
It still tracks. I'm not assuming a hunty plane, right?
right.
A plane that will hunt, where the CG is too far forward. It's in a usable CG range, right? So if you're towards the back of the usable CG range, that is going to turn like gangbusters with absolute ease, and but
It'll want to
it's gonna
close up.
you may become a little bit finicky in level flight if you wanna. It was gonna wander a little bit ever so slightly, and that's because of your inputs, right? Not because the plane is not tracking.
Right.
And you're gonna start wandering, and you have to be a lot of finesse to hold it to fly nice and level and clean, right? Especially in the loops, just a lot of finesse. But what I found out with the aft CG in the loops, it even in windy condition, it doesn't compress, right? Or winds up. It's just nice and just nice and docile everywhere, right? But if you have to do adjustments in the middle of the loop, a little bit more, a little bit less, or something like that, again, it takes a lot of finesse to do it, right? So opposite is true. If you're too nose heavy, you're gonna have uh, um, this hard corner. It doesn't want to corner. It's gonna be mushy. A lot of deflection on the control surfaces. You want to drag a lot. You lose a lot of energy in a corner, and then with less speed out of the corner, now you're struggling to go to the next corner, and now you have an RC plane on your hand. So kind of thing, right? So that's kind of the other extreme, and both extremes can be made to fly at the handle, because it doesn't matter which one wherever the CG is at, by spacing your handle to suit your flying style, you can get the response that you want to have, right? And and that's the tricky part of it, because so I think too far nose heavy is mushy and stuff like that, doesn't want to turn, especially in the wind. Try to pull it out of of an hourglass, or do the corners on the top. I mean, it's just a nightmare. Um, on the other hand, if you have an FCG in a wind, you don't care. You don't care. You can turn anywhere. And I think the FCG advantage is that very little deflection on the controls. You need very little deflection. I think I'm using maybe 10 to 15 degrees on mine, and it's more than enough. And I'm not losing any speed, any momentum, anything. I have, I mean, just I can do hourglasses forever, and just and I can do that in a wind. Um, who was that, Charles? Was that Dale that flew my plane at the Nats? narrower, move it. He was moving it around a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. It really didn't matter for him where he put the plane. The plane was just, okay, let's do it here then. You want it there? Fine. Kind of like that. So it was effortless. So anyways, I mean, he gave me a nice was that William DeMongro. He said Dale doesn't like anything, but he likes to play. So,
was it Derek? Not Dale, but Derek, right? Derek, right? Because I think Dale was his dad. Wizard.
Dale.
No.
Derek and Fitzgerald, they both flew it.
Okay.
They both flew it. They're overturning the plane. Fitzgerald couldn't.
Derek flew it at Canton. Derek flew it at Canton.
Yeah. And he also flew it at Joe as well. Fitzgerald too at Joe. Yeah. So Fitzgerald was overshooting the corners. Every corner he flew with the plane, he was overshooting by about 5 to 10 degrees. I mean, I guess he was turning it. Yeah, it was at least 5 degrees. About how much? Yeah, he would come like this, overturn, correct, turn it, overturn, correct. I mean, it was just.
Wow, that's amazing.
And even if you correct and overturn something like that, it really doesn't matter because the plane just. Okay, it's just a mistake. It is not losing energy. It's not doing any of that funny stuff. It just continues to the tracks to the next corner and just boom again. So, yeah. so yeah.
Sounds like you put some time into trimming it.
I need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I need to do some more of that. Oh yeah, it is right now. It's just dynamite, right?
Yeah.
I just know that, like, right now I'm looking at it. I said I just want to track. I want to make my life just a little bit easier, in level flight. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking for, right? So a little bit more nose heavy. I mean, I'm almost already at 3 inches and 5/8, 3 inches and 3/4 back on a CG, which is very aft,
right.
by any standards, right?
Right.
I think if I push it forward another 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch or something like that, it's not going to hurt anything.
No. You need to find out anyway. You need to do it anyway. Just find out.
Yeah. And that's why we build a new nose with the new components inside of it, so we can so we are able to slide the battery further forward, and that's so easy. I mean, that's the nice part of electrics. They're so consistent and they fly nice and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the electrics have made it so much easier because you get a consistent power output, and it's going to quit when it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's just. Some people say it's boring, and I said, oh, I like boring. Boring in stunt is good. Boring in stunt means it's consistent, do the same thing every time, it's predictable. Boring is awesome for stunt.
I started flying back in the old days with the 424 brake, and where you were going slow enough that as you did the wing over, it free flighted the last 20 degrees across the top of the circle. And, you had to learn how to fly with that kind of power. And it wasn't until I got messed with the stalkers, as far as wet power goes, that I was able to get consistent runs every single time. And that's what you're getting with electric. That's why I'm going electric eventually, over time.
Yeah. I have another project I took over right now. Not that I have enough shit on my plate and I don't have time for anything else, but I started to play with the accelerometers, gyros, and boards like that. So this is an Arduino. I have
Yeah, we
So-
see it.
So this is the accelerometer. This is my microprocessor. So right now, what I can do, I have, if I connect this to my computer, I can read data from the accelerometer, which has a gyro in it too. So it's two things in one. It's a gyro and an accelerometer. So I'm playing with this stuff right now because I want to have my own custom flight program.
Yeah.
So
You want to make it boring?
what?
You try to make it more boring?
Yeah, definitely.
He's going to get to where he just goes to the handle. He's got a dial on it. And he just dials what he wants the thing to do and says it holds the handle and looks great.
So this is the goal. It's like I want to set an angle, let's say 20 degrees, right? So from level flight, as you pull up, going to the 20 degrees, you're gonna have like a power band, right? That varies, right? At 20 degrees, something else takes over and keeps the speed constant all the way to the other side. When it comes down at 20 degrees, another power band kicks in and just gonna slow it down, hit the brakes.
Yeah.
So you fly 5.5 second lap time, and then go 5.6, 5.8 when you hit the bottom, and you can basically read the book while you fly that corner at low speed and just nail it. Just go like turn, go. I want to make I'll make it very boring.
How many flights do you have on your Revolution?
I don't know how many, but actually this is the longest I ever had a plane.
So I know that I heard that at the 2018 Nats, you only had like half dozen flights on before you competed with it.
Yes, actually I had about 12 flights in maximum. No, it was less than that. No more than 10 flights before I was the first official.
Wow.
Something like that. But the beauty of it, it's like after the Nats, I gave it to Mark McKinney to fly, right? And Mark McKinney put 5 flights on it back to back, just to get and a lot of time, he spent a lot of time just messing with the handle, trying to get the handle to be in the right position for him and stuff like that. So, but by flight number 5, he said, I put the best flight I ever did in my whole life.
Yep.
Wow.
It's that fast. I mean,
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was settling into it super fast, getting comfortable with it instantly, and from that point on, he was like, "What do I want to do with it?" And actually, when I saw him flying, he was doing the same mistakes he was doing on the previous plane, because he was just so the plane had certain soft spots and certain issues with it, so he had to fly a certain way, and I saw him doing the same thing on my plane, and kind of confirmed. So yeah, he was. There's a video of the flight, when I was on YouTube, and I can give you the link to it if you want to see it, if you care for it. So
have you flying it or have Mark flying it?
What?
Have you flying it or have Mark flying it?
He's got his own plane. Oh, Mark is flying it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, give me the link. I can see it.
That was his. Here, just a second.
I gotta get up and go to work in the morning, so I'll see you guys.
Okay.
All right. See you, man.
Good night.
Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Yep.
Jeff Riley says, "Hey, Rusty, can you relay to Charles that the Strega, as close as my scale is, weighs in at 59 ounces?"
Wow, that's pretty good. That's well, I guess really I would probably end up about as heavy as mine right now. You figure 20 ounces of power. I don't know. And finish, it probably end up as heavy as mine is right now.
Yeah, I can share a video with you. You want to see it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Can this show video pretty good? This oh yeah, it does.
Okay, YouTube. Here we go. Buffering.
Am I missing something here?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, it keeps muting. We're watching the revolutions fly. Are you seeing that?
No, I'm a Jitsi man, so I got nothing as far as YouTube.
Uh, it's screen sharing a YouTube video.
Oh, no, I don't even know how to get that.
Okay. Allie's in the outside loops right now. We're just watching try and fly a pattern.
Okay.
This will be our closing show. Nice square loops there. That's good shapes. Here comes the outside squares. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody else besides Mike seeing it? I'll take that as a yes. Damn thing keeps muting me.
Same here. It keeps muting me also.
Every time I
Not even
start
talking a
talking,
lot.
every time it starts talking, it tells me I'm muted. All right, the pattern's finished. He's doing his unwind loops now. And there we have it. Nice landing. Flight of the Revolutions. All right.
Yeah, it was nice.
Nice flight. Yep.
Very nice. Yeah, I can
Okay.
see how he was
Am I
over.
still unmuted? Y'all hear me?
I hear you. We hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, people. This is a good show tonight. And John, I appreciate you coming in with us. Nice to have a new member join anytime. And so you guys all have a good week, and we'll see you back on Friday night. And all you YouTubers out there, we appreciate you visiting. We had a pretty good crowd out there tonight. So until Friday, let's call it fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see y'all later.
See you later.
And we are. All right, we're ending the stream. All right, y'all take it easy, man. Appreciate it.
All right, take care, Rusty. Take care, everybody.
Good night.